Challenge, have fun, earn a great weekly paycheck, and work for a great company. If you're looking for a career change or right out of high school, the John Henry's Plumbing Apprentice Program may be the perfect answer. You'll get paid while getting hands-on training. We focus on your skills while you engage in real-world learning. Why not join the John Henry's team today? Apply at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
Happer and Shaper.
Welcome to my slam poetry. I don't think it's like that. Reading books. Listening to books.
Please cut all of this.
Keep going.
Technology
Is the worst. Just like poetry.
But not slam poetry. That's
Weekday mornings from 8 to 11 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Businesses from all over the capital city are excited to welcome you to the 2021 Lincoln Expo on Wednesday, October 13th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Safely enjoy one of the region's largest business trade shows as you network, find out about Lincoln businesses, and enjoy the many interactive booths. The Expo has something for everyone, including the popular Lincoln Craft Beer Tour and a free Lincoln t-shirt. Best of all, it's free to attend. The Lincoln Expo, showcasing and celebrating local business.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket sports news go now.
I'm Enrique Alvarez-Clary. Nebraska football fell to Michigan 32-29 inside Memorial Stadium on Saturday. After what seemed to be a defensive battle at the half with the Wolverines up 13-0, the Huskers scored 22 third-quarter points to take the lead going into the fourth quarter. That fourth quarter saw Michigan score 13 points, including the eventual game-winning field goal with 1:24 remaining in the game. The Blackshirts were on the field for 34 minutes, which was longer than head coach Scott Frost preferred.
I think it hurt the defense a little bit. We scored so fast in the third quarter that the defense was out there a long time. And I don't know if they were a little worn out at the end of the game. In these type of physical games, you get beat down a little bit, and we wanted to be ahead through that type of period so we could keep our offense on the field and their defense on the field. And we hit some big plays, and our defense was out there a long time.
Next up for Nebraska, a road trip to Minneapolis to take on the Gophers of Minnesota. That game could be seen on ESPN2 with an 11 a.m. kickoff. Nebraska volleyball had another 2-0 weekend that started with a 4-set win over Penn State and State College. The Huskers followed that up with a sweep of Rutgers in New Brunswick. They're back inside the Devaney Center for the next two games this week, a midweek matchup with Indiana on Wednesday at 8 on ESPNU, and a Saturday tilt with Illinois on Nebraska Public Media at 6 p.m. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Koppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I always tell people, I just hope they see a guy that loves what he does.
Jake Bockoven.
I didn't get any stupider, I know that. I have never been very smart.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Welcome in. It is Tom and Bock on a Monday after another tough defeat. Man, I'll tell you this, Bock. After Oklahoma, I was fine. I was fine. I was like, Nebraska competed. None of us predicted that they would compete at such a high level. Yeah, they made some special teams errors, probably could have won that game, but I was okay on that Monday. After the Michigan State loss, I was upset that they can't, execute a punt properly, but I was kind of encouraged. Hey, they went on the road. They played really well, probably should have won the game. And then Saturday night against Michigan, Nebraska did win that game. In my mind, they won that game. But they just didn't win it on the scoreboard. So now I've gotten to the point where I'm pretty angry. I'm maybe because of lack of sleep. My cousin was in town all weekend long, and we imbibed in the festivities, played a lot of golf, had a really good time, and we're there together, thinking Nebraska's finally going to pull this thing off, the signature win. And then of course the fumble happens. Of course. That's what happens. It's Nebraska football. I mean, we should know by that. Now, we've seen this movie so many times. We never know exactly how it's going to end, but we know it's not going to be good.
Did you partially see that coming in the post-game show? I kind of was talking to Happer. I mean, Happer was just kind of at this point, like, maybe it was just blocking out the fact that something always came up. And I mean, I was looking for it because it happened so often.
I'm always
Nebraska.
looking for it.
Yeah.
It's like the whoopee cushion before you sit down. You're looking for it. It's going to happen. Where is it hidden?
Yeah, when's it happening?
When's it going to happen? Wait a minute. This is going too well. This is going really swimmingly. Adrian, of course, all he needs to do is get us in field goal range, and we'll win this damn thing. And he was stopped. I did think his forward progress had been stopped, but you still have to hang on to the ball.
Yeah.
That was such a weirdly officiated game. The drive from Michigan where you have 3 reviews and they all go overturned.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing out there?
What do you even, I mean, isn't it 5 fouls in basketball and you're out? How many screw ups do you get as an official before they kick you out of the game? I've always said, well, at least I've said for a long time, officials should have to, at least a representative should have to face the media after a game like that. And maybe you'd feel better as a fan if they just admitted that they really were terrible that night. Coaches have to admit that. Players have to admit that. But officials are never, I know they're reviewed on every call. But I've always said, man, after a bad performance, you need to face the music. And that's a night where I would have loved to have heard from a representative from the crew, because that was a disaster. And Nebraska always seems to get the worst crew ever. I think that was the same crew that officiated the Oklahoma game.
Yeah, they're a popular crew. I heard Schaefer talking about it. They're like they're like the go-to crew for the Big Ten for somehow. I mean, and I don't blame the officials for that loss. I mean, there's certain things that you can point to, but it wasn't good for Michigan either at times. And that's when it really gets bad, when both teams come together after the game and go, those officials were awful. Because I mean, then it's not just a bias. Anybody watching that game
for both sides, they were
right.
Bad. Yeah, Nebraska was in an illegal formation, which Harbaugh complained about when Austin Allen scored in the third quarter. Part of that, I think that was the first touchdown in that series.
Oh yeah, huge play.
It was a bad night all the way around. I just think Nebraska got the bulk of the worst calls. I mean, they got the really worst calls at the wrong time, the worst of them.
Well, in the one that sticks out to me, and there's plenty that we'll talk about, but the one that sticks out to me is the one that JoJo Domann got before the end of the half. I mean, if you go into the half down 9-0, 6-0, whatever would have been, if they would have hit a field goal or not, then you're still feeling a little bit better about yourself and that you're close. It's a one possession game, or that touchdown in the opening drive there would have cut it to 9-7 or whatever. But that was just bad. I mean, he didn't. JoJo just stood there and he didn't push him or anything. He just
not only did he not commit a penalty, he didn't do anything.
Yeah,
he literally didn't do anything on that play. What was was it disconcerting signals, the Clapgate?
Yeah,
of course, Nebraska has accused Iowa of that in the past, and Kirk Ferentz just laughed about it. The officials actually penalized it last night.
Well, and it's because
Saturday night.
Yeah, it drew Michigan's offensive lineman offsides, and on that play, a false start, I should say. But on that play, it was weird because when they showed the replay of that one, it looked like it was. But I don't know. It's tough to call there. But they're allowed, but they continued with it. Nebraska's defense did. So you're allowed to clap as long as the offensive guy doesn't jump.
I guess
it's confusing.
so you not you're allowed to call your plays via a clap on offense, but apparently you're not as a defense.
Right, because if the offense is using that same signal, then that could be disconcerting. But Coach Harbaugh, it's not just the officials. I mean, Coach Harbaugh was saying that was a problem that Nebraska was doing that. So it is interesting. That's a little game within the game, but not that penalty is not a big deal. It stands out, but the joint possession one sure is.
Joint possession.
I mean, the Michigan guy.
Joint.
I did say joint, which is hilarious.
Absolutely hilarious.
The Michigan guy seemed to have the possession in his legs, and the Nebraska guy, there he goes. There's some joint possession.
There's joint possession right there.
That's just what joint possession usually sounds like.
I mean, we're all such children, aren't we? That a phrase like joint possession sets every social media into a frenzy. Should we take
but
a
as
quick
funny
call?
as that was a huge play. If Nebraska would have recovered that.
Oh, absolutely.
Basically in the red zone.
Oh, yeah. Didn't the Michigan went on a long drive, at least changed field position after that. So it was an absolutely huge play. Let's take a quick call from Russ. Russ in Lincoln. Hi, Russ. How are you? Russ.
Hello.
Hey, Russ. How you doing?
Well, I'm, I don't know. I was okay till about noon yesterday, and then my Broncos lost too. So but then the Chiefs lost last night, so that picked me up. But let me tell you, we've got 50 million reasons, and I mean dollars, to be in the Big Ten, and we get everything we deserve because it's just like the Big 12. They're not going to. They want Ohio State. They want Michigan up top. They want those guys to have the game at the end of the year, to be the bell cow. None of these calls against Nebraska is a coincidence. This is lined up before the game even starts.
No.
Everything, they don't care if they do, we take care of Northwestern or Purdue or somebody. But we play Ohio State, we play Michigan, any of those upper two teams, we're not going to get one damn call. And it's a predetermined situation in my mind. And so our guys can go out there and fight their guts out no matter what. And they're not going to get the benefit of the doubt because it's all about Michigan. It's about Ohio State. It's about those bastards in Chicago.
All right. We're getting a little too close there, but thank you.
Well, we appreciate the call. He was on a roll there for a while, Russ.
Just
from
a couple words are getting closer.
Yeah, he was getting too close to the line there.
Yeah.
But it was frustrating to watch because it's already a fine line for Nebraska. The margin for error is already small. This is not a great team. We know it. But it's a very good team. And it feels like if you just got normal breaks sometimes, that would be enough to put Nebraska over the edge. But something always happens. And sometimes it's because Nebraska allows it to happen. I'm sorry, you got to protect the ball. It was 2 seconds after the whistle. I thought that was a bad call. I thought that Adrian
did they have the whistle? Or after forward
nobody
progress?
Nobody heard a whistle.
Yeah, I didn't see.
Nobody heard a whistle. It should. You're right. It felt like the forward progress was stopped, and maybe just Adrian assuming because I'm a quarterback and my forward progress,
right.
I'm not going forward anymore, that they would stop that. But there were a lot of really bad calls in that game. Again, on both sides, I think some of them I saw a hold that Nebraska wasn't called for. The Austin Allen thing, I mean, you weren't set. The Nebraska wasn't up to the line of scrimmage they had 5 men in the backfield, 6 men.
And I think that was the tackle that was in the backfield because he was lining up. He was preparing for Aiden Hutchinson, who was getting around him every time. So I think he was prepared. But, the problem is it's inconsistent because there were different plays where you probably could have called the same thing. And that's what the problem is throughout the night. I mean, you could take a bad call here or there, but I mean, it's just, and maybe it is something. Maybe it's something that Russ is on to where, it's just something against Nebraska. I don't know if I'd buy into that quite yet because, I mean, every team, like they say in football, you can call holding every player. You can probably call something just about every play. So it's really hard to
try not to
decipher.
Try to call penalties when they actually happen. I mean, a pass interference where nobody can find anything. I mean, what are you thinking on that?
Well, and I mean, it stopped his route, but I mean, he stopped it. He ran into Doman, Jojo Doman. So, I mean, I'm not defending the refs because that was an awfully called game. I'm just saying I don't know if it's a higher conspiracy against Nebraska. It's just something that when you lose a lot of these one possession games, you
look at everything.
You look at everything and you get frustrated, but those calls get magnified in the one possession games where you can't take care of it. But Nebraska had opportunities at the end to win and to keep the Zebras out of it, and they just didn't do it.
464-5685. Love to hear from you on the Sutter Heyman text line and the Honda of Lincoln hotline. And of course, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. So you can see our faces waving at you. Our faces don't wave at you. Our hands do, but our faces look at you. Off the text line, I agree with the need for accountability on the part of the officials. But is that going to make you feel better? It would make me feel a little better. When somebody stands up and said, you know what, that my bad. It takes the steam out of me, like they've apologized. They knew that they made a mistake. And maybe they wouldn't say that. They probably wouldn't say that. I've never heard an official. My cousin is an official. He's never admitted to anything.
They're very prideful of their calls.
Yeah. So I don't know that they would, but I would love to hear some accountability because we have to get it from coaches. We get it from the players. And everybody has a bad night. I get that. Sometimes as an official, you're going to have a bad night. That's a really tough job. But I'd like to hear somebody say, you know what? We had a tough night. We missed that call. That would I think it would make me feel better.
Well, and like to what Rico's been saying, that like he's noticed, I noticed it too. They weren't measuring like anything that was close. It never took a measurement. It's just first down.
And some of those were really close,
right? So the tie just goes to the offense. Apparently,
I guess, we're busy. We don't have the time to move the chains. The guys have been working hard all week.
Yeah.
It's been a tough week. We're into Saturday night. I think that was good.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those were really close and could have been measured. We said that in the stands. I'm going, you might want to at least check it.
And of course, the most egregious spot was the problem against Michigan, where they gained like 3 more yards, and they placed them behind the first down, and Harbaugh had to call a timeout. I think Frost had to call a timeout for when McNamara's knee went down. So I mean, the officiating was so bad that it caused 2 timeouts from each of the sides to try to get him to fix it.
Yeah, it's really well. Of course, we'll talk more about it. The grades are coming up. I'm a hard grader. I don't always agree with everybody, but we'll break down the game and we will throughout the show today, and then we'll hand out our grades. Overall, I think they were pretty decent, but a couple of things really obviously held Nebraska back. We'll have our Big Ten Blitz today and our picks of density. We both went 5-5.
I'll take that. My record needed that.
And we went completely. We didn't pick a lot of the same games.
No.
That was one of those weekends. Again, we picked the very toughest game. We picked the best games in the country, so it's really hard to be good.
Yeah.
5-5 is really not
and
bad.
This is against the spread. This is not just straight up winners either.
Explain yourself, Bock, because it needs to be explained. This
right.
is not as
this
easy.
Is difficult.
This is not for amateurs like us. This is somebody who knows games at a higher level and gamble for a living.
Speaking of that, how about the line coming down from 3.5 to 2.5 before the game?
Right.
And then it's a 3-point game? They do that every time somehow.
They do. They're amazing. How about that Texas Oklahoma game?
Jeez.
They outscored Texas. I think it was 28-10 in the second half.
Oh, yeah.
And it looked like it was going to overtime. Oklahoma was 7 seconds left, runs it in from like 45 yards.
Oklahoma, it was frustrating because I picked Texas there, and anybody who put money on it is even more frustrated because all they needed was a field goal, and then at least it would have been split because Oklahoma was favored by 3, at least when we picked it.
Yeah.
And instead, they ran the ball out of like a surprise to Texas, clearly, and scored a touchdown on it.
If he gets tackled, and there was a chance there, 10, 5-yard line, they might go to overtime and they don't get the field goal opportunity. That was a little bit of a gamble. That was a great football game. Not a lot of defense. And of course, Caleb Williams became the big hero, comes in for Spencer Rattler in the second quarter and leads that big comeback. There's some great throws and some great catches. That was a fantastic football game. And Oklahoma wins it, 52-45. Nebraska now 6-15 in 1-score games. We'll probably address that at some point today because it is painful. And then you probably got another 1-score game this week. Minnesota.
You think so?
I don't know. Nebraska's favorite. If it works out according to the line, it's a 2.5-point game. So that's a 1-score game.
I feel a lot more confident for some reason in the Nebraska be able to take down Minnesota.
Another physical team against a team that has out-physicaled you the last 2 years.
Yeah, but they don't have. I mean, I don't think
They're
Trayson
banged
Potts
up.
is coming back. Obviously, Mo Ibrahim's out for the year. They're down to their third string running back.
I just don't know. I mean, Nebraska's playing their 8th straight game, so they're really banged up as well. And you've just lost Teddy Prohaska after being the star last week. He plays into the second quarter. I think he got into the second quarter, and a relative, I think his mom, tweeted out that it's not good.
Yeah.
So if that's true, although you had Corcoran, who was on the right side, Prohaska was on the left side. With that injury, Corcoran went back to the left side, and then you had Benhart in most of the night, and then he was fine.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your grades on the offensive line, because that was an interesting development. Overall, they didn't get the ground game kind of traditional up the middle thing going, and maybe you probably expected that from where they've been all year. That Northwestern was an outlier, and that the new offensive line wasn't the pipeline of old right away.
Maybe part of it is you get benched, and I'm sure there's an awakening there.
Oh, yeah.
At least a little bit, and you get your second opportunity. Benhart really did play pretty well, and Corcoran was fine. Because Frost said, "Hey, our problems are left tackle or right tackle and left guard. I think were the two big problems," he said. And Norton Nawili looked like he played another fine game. But then the other move, Prohaska, I don't think he's played in 4 games. So if he does have to go down for the rest of the year, if he does miss the rest of the year, then I think he would get a redshirt year. So that would be good because that guy does have, assuming he recovers, I think he's going to have a big future.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a really good player. And the Nebraska offensive line, even without him, played pretty well for much of the night. Did you watch your Red Sox yesterday?
That was an entertaining game, wasn't it?
That was with 13 innings, and the Red Sox now have won 2 straight over Tampa Bay and lead that series 2 games to 1.
It's a 5-game series, keep in mind.
Kevin Kiermaier hits a ball that goes off the wall at Fenway. I've never seen this happen ever in baseball. It goes off the wall, and then it hits Hunter Renfroe from Tampa Bay in the chest and goes over the wall.
Yeah, for the Red Sox.
For the Red Sox.
Hunter
Renfroe from the Red Sox, and it goes back over the wall. It's ruled a ground rule double, which I've never seen before in my life. That a ball hits the wall, bounces back to the outfielder, hits the outfielder, goes over the wall.
And it took a run off the board for Tampa, which was the real problem because the guy was going to score from first, and then once they made a double, then they put him back on, and the Red Sox got out of the inning and then hit the walk-off home run, Christian Vasquez did at the end of the inning. This is the top of the 13th. Critical game. Obviously, I mean, game 3 of a 5-game series tied up in extra innings. And Fenway strikes again. I just love Fenway so far because the Green Monster blocked a few of the Yankees home runs in the in the wild card game, and now in this pivotal game, the Red Sox get it going. And it's fun. This is a group.
Fun.
Not for Red Sox fans, at least. It's fun for them because this isn't a group that a whole lot of was expected out of them. They're kind of in a rebuilding year, and they're ahead of schedule. And man, who knows what can happen? The wild card propels a lot of teams. It just kind of depends in baseball who's hot at the time.
That was just a weird play. I've never seen anything like that. Tampa Bay wins the first game handily, and then now the Red Sox have won 2 in a row. So it's only a 5-game series. So you have a big advantage when you get up 2 games to 1. I think the White Sox and Astros have a 2-1 lead in that series.
And the White Sox are saying the Astros are stealing signs again.
That's right.
So that's fun.
That's right on cue.
Yeah.
If you do something well, why not continue to do it? Why? I mean, just because you get criticized for cheating, that seems like a small
And
thing.
wouldn't it be great to have the Red Sox and Astros in the AL Championship Series stealing signs from each other with Alex Cora on the side?
That'd be awesome. 464-5685. I think Lucas thinks I'm way off base today on a number of different things. So it wouldn't be the first time. And there is a little anger in my voice. So maybe I'm not completely thinking clearly about the game because Heidi is like, you should take the positives from this game. There's so many positives.
Yeah.
Nebraska played well in the spotlight in a big game against Michigan, a team that obviously has more talent. And they probably should have won, But you should take the good out of that. And I'm like, at some point, you got to win those games, though. That's why I'm still angry, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll gain a little more perspective and think, oh, they're going to blow out Minnesota. So they did gain a lot. And if they show up and be that team again, I think they will beat Minnesota. But it's hard to have that confidence that they won't make the one big mistake in every single game that just kills you.
Yeah, the big picture perspective is very hard to kind of to get around to, and maybe it just takes some fans throughout the week to get there. Because those close losses are just backbreakers. And the other thing is just this is unfamiliar territory for Nebraska football fans, right? I mean, I know that the last 5 years have been pretty bad, so you're kind of getting used to it, but I'm still having trouble with this is the 1 year where you can have a couple close games and lose, and I'm okay with it. You just got to get to 6 wins or whatever. That's still weird because when ultimately the goal is to get back to those 9-10 win seasons. Then when you lose, you're not going, well, at least they tried and they played well and the program's heading in the right direction. It's a big deal that they lose each and every game. But right now, that's not where it is. And right now it's kind of like, well, they tried and that was good. And maybe they could get to 6 wins because, so that's kind of weird, unfamiliar territory to be in. And that's why I think there's a bit of a disconnect from some Husker fans to the others on the big picture discussion.
Yeah, it's tough for me to get excited right now just because it's so emotionally draining leaving that stadium again. It's like, man, how many times? It's like going to that party and everything is great. And then you get thrown up on at the end of the night. Somebody just throws up on you. And it feels like that's coming at the end of every night for Nebraska football.
Yeah, but you go to the party knowing somebody's going to puke at you at the end of the night. When's it going to happen?
I can't wait until it happens. This is going to be great. But it just feels like that. And because it happens every single time. Let's get to break. We will do the grades. And before that even, I want to address some of the things that and maybe we'll save it, but some of the things that Jim Harbaugh said after the game were kind of weird. Let's get to break. We'll come back with the grades next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock. Early break with Sip and Jake.
Nebraska really needs to make sure they don't go down as the best team to not make a bowl game.
Think about some of the guys that wouldn't, if they don't end up in a bowl game, that wouldn't go to a bowl game. I mean, Adrian, perhaps he could come back next year.
JoJo Doman.
But yeah, the guys on like the 2 safeties. I mean, that would be horrible.
I know.
That'd be awful.
Because this team is absolutely good enough to be in a bowl.
Yeah, they're a bowl team.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
What are you doing, Sip?
I thought the chickens could use some more light in their lives.
So you're building what exactly?
It's a motion-censored switchboard. Duh.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Of course.
Ow! God! Ow! Seems like a job for a professional.
Just one more wire. Yep, there you go, right there.
Don't be like Sip. Call Joe at Ambition Electric for any of your electric needs at 402-217-3415.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SCC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or Comfort Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an Eggie sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Partly cloudy skies this morning should give way to plenty of afternoon sunshine. We'll top out at around 74, north winds at around 10. Heading into tonight, mainly clear, a low dropping down to 46. We'll top out near 76 tomorrow, but southeast winds could gust over 35. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Dancing at weddings, walking the dog, playing with grandchildren. These are the small moments that make life great. They're also the moments that chronic pain steals from us. Don't let chronic pain stop you or a loved one from living life. At MD Pain, we wrote the book on effective, ethical pain management. We offer the most up-to-date treatments from Nebraska's leading physicians. Don't let pain stand in your way. Call MD Pain.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to theticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're saying it. One time it got called, but they're definitely trying to clap.
That's Jim Harbaugh on Clapgate number 3 for Nebraska football. I'm thinking back to the Michigan State game under Bo Pelini, where Michigan State was clapping. Was that Taylor Martinez that was bothered by that? I don't remember. It might have been Tommy. And more recently, Nebraska versus Iowa. Scott Frost complained about Iowa clapping, and I think Kirk Ferentz's quote was like, "Really? We're talking about clapping?" And now it happened again. And Nebraska's penalized for discerning signals.
Disconcerting
signals.
Yeah.
If they would just do what the Houston Astros do and just steal them, that would be better. But yeah, disconcerting signals is what they were called for, a penalty on. Delay of game, basically. You're delaying the game.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen called in college football.
Well, and what it did was, it made the Michigan offensive lineman think that was his quarterback or something. So he thought that the snap was going, it's just interesting because Nebraska, when they do on offense, most of the time they're not snapping on a clap. They clap a lot and then they don't snap,
right?
And so it's trying to get them going. But it's interesting to see how it plays out, because if you clap and they don't jump, that's fine,
right? Well, I guess you can't clap on defense, even if you're giving your own guys signals. Yeah. You can clap all you want on offense. Jim Harbaugh, why he was so animated after Nebraska's first TD?
It was an illegal formation from what I saw on the field. I was wondering, who were they putting on the line of scrimmage when they had 5 in the backfield? And they told me the guy that they put on the line of scrimmage. I said, well, he released on a pass. Anyway, that's the way I saw it.
There you go. Complaining about a lot of stuff. And to his credit, Frost wouldn't talk about the officiating after that game.
Didn't want to get fined.
I don't want to get fined. But Harbaugh was pretty chatty.
Yeah.
He compared his team to Clint Eastwood. He said that was a Clint Eastwood type win.
Yeah, he did. So now we talk about Harbaugh. I don't know where that comes from. What does that mean?
I don't know.
What's a Clint Eastwood type win?
I think it means a tough guy type win.
Oh, yeah.
Tough-minded win. You think of Clint Eastwood. He's a cowboy. You got to be tough-minded to be Clint Eastwood.
Harbaugh also said there's no doubt Nebraska wanted to storm the field, tear down the goalposts, carry them. Not in our watch.
He's a different cat.
Did you see him too? I asked you pre show that
Yeah.
you didn't quite see it when ESPN tried to interview him after the game, which is of course what they do to the winner after every game. He just blew off the reporter and started,
really
fist pumping in the air and started jumping around and just left. He didn't do a
I didn't
post game
see
report.
that. Of course, I went to the game. I didn't watch it on TV, so I haven't watched. I watched
Oh, that's
football.
right, yeah.
I watch football in 60, and that's kind of a way I prefer to. But you
Yeah.
miss a lot of stuff. You miss so much when you don't watch the full game.
That's why you have to DVR it.
And I do, but then I just get lazy and I do football in 60 because I'd rather do it in an hour than 3 hours. But you do miss some stuff, and I probably need to go back through it.
And how about this too? How was the light show? Was this your second light show?
Yep, it was fantastic. I mean, the energy was better than Northwestern. It was all ready for explosion.
Everybody knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Nebraska had all the momentum. I will say this: Michigan, who took over jump around against Wisconsin. Of course, that was a different game.
Yeah.
They had all the momentum at that time. They had like a dance off, right, with Nebraska, and they embraced it, and then they scored on their first possession in the fourth quarter.
I wish
so I'm going to go ahead and say it. Probably shouldn't have done the light show.
Probably should. There you go. Be the first. There you go. Box said it. You knew it was coming.
It gave
that damn light show.
Nebraska had all the momentum,
Yep.
and then Michigan got pumped up
Right.
for the light show.
That's right. I told you it should be organic. You can't force that stuff, and it cost us a win. Box says.
That's right.
Otherwise, they win that game.
Officials, yeah, a little bit, but the light show that really screwed Nebraska.
I did think it was interesting that Michigan was really into dancing and the antics during that, and Nebraska just was like looking at them.
Really?
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much of a dance off. It was Michigan.
It was
dancing.
it was Michigan doing all the dancing, and Nebraska going like, "What are they doing over there?"
Hey, this is ours.
464-5685. Tom, hi Tom. How are you?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I'm just wondering if there was maybe a memo sent out to all the officials in the past week on a disconcerting violation or whatever the heck they're calling it.
Yeah.
That was actually called 4 times in the Alabama A&M game.
Okay.
And those guys that were doing that, they were just like, okay, number one, we don't know what that is. And number two, why is it being called today 4 different times?
Yeah.
So, I'm just wondering, I've never heard of it in my life either. And all of a sudden, it's all over the place. So just wondering, maybe they got a memo and they're supposed to be looking out for it or something. So thanks. Great show.
Yeah, point of emphasis type thing is what it had
And
to be.
The text line also pointed out too to what Rico was saying, and what I said was, that they're not measuring a whole lot. They weren't measuring a lot. They're just giving the first downs away. That does seem to happen a lot more in football these days, and you wonder if that's kind of a speed of the game type of thing. So there are things that the officials get together and work on, but and focus on pregame. But the joint possession was the one that I just keep going back to. Obviously, besides the pass interference call on JoJo Domann, that one hurt the most. But I don't know how you just undo a pile and go, I don't know. Like that's your job. You're supposed to figure it out. Go look at the replay. And I don't know how. I also don't know why we have all the technology in the world. Why do we rely on just guys that are in the thick of it? They can't see everything. There should be an official that's sitting on his couch at home watching the TV product and going, phoning into him, hey, this is very obvious, or you need to you need to recheck this. Take a minute, because you missed a call. It's right there. Like, why do the officials have to be like the official guys on the field, and you can't have one that can see better?
Right. It would make sense. I mean, it's really tough to figure out who has the ball on the bottom of those piles.
Oh, yeah.
The ball sometimes changes possession 3 times, and guys are grabbing stuff that they shouldn't be grabbing to try to get you to give up the football. And it happens. So it's hard to figure out who really had possession. And because it takes literally in many cases a minute or a minute and a half to unpile those guys, and by then 3 different guys have had it in some cases.
Yeah, and that's why I think in those cases you need, and it's the same thing with whether the guy passed the pylon or not. And there's a whole, what happens at the end of a pile when you get everybody off of there? That's not what happened. So you need to go back to replay and try your best to see who has possession at that point, because he'd be down, or did the guy get forward progress into the end zone? And I think that would be much easier than a guy on the field 10 seconds after the play, seeing what happened at the bottom of the pile.
I wonder if you could have a pile cam Like just have a camera attached to the players, and you would know on the bottom of the pile, a pile cam.
Well, the football really needs a camera on it.
There you go. That you should have thinking out loud again,
Yeah.
Bock. You're a genius. A football cam. Why isn't there a camera on the football?
That's right.
That would be
I would
fantastic.
really appreciate it when they like
That
punt it
should be
right on the camera.
They could easily do that by next week. They could have that done.
Work on that, people.
Please.
Smarter than us.
Let's do the grades, Bock.
All right.
All right. There were quite a few B's and C's for this game. The offensive line. Nebraska averaged 4.4 per carry. They only ran for 140. The bulk of that probably in the second half. They passed for 291. The offensive line give up 1 sack. But think about this. They lost a guy in Teddy Prohaska, maybe for the season. Corcoran is going on the right side. Then in a game, he has to go to the other side. Bryce Benhart, who was benched, comes back in, played okay. I'm not an offensive line guru to grade him, but it looked like he did at least serviceable against Aiden Hutchinson, who was all over the field and really difficult to block. So I gave them a C overall. Vanilla in the first half. They opened it up in the second half, went through the playbook, and they had 431 total yards. And a lot of that is to the credit of the offensive line.
Yeah, I'd agree with that for the most part. I mean, the only problem, again, I see them struggling with is getting anything going up the middle. By the end of the game, kind of the plan is to wear down the defense by the end of that. And we heard Scott Frost talk about how the time of possession was clearly on Michigan's sides. But to Nebraska's offensive line's credit, both defenses were worn down by the end of the game, including Michigan. So they started to get a little bit better of run in the traditional run game up the middle. Ramir was able to bust off a few. So, I mean, I'd almost go with a B considering what they're facing.
Well, Ramir did have 67 yards, 17 carries, 67 yards, 3.9 per carry. I would have loved to have seen more Yant. 4 carries, 14 yards. Ramir had probably his best play of the night was the touchdown catch. And he also had a 40-yard reception on a screen pass that was so well designed. He had a very good night overall. But from the run game, I still think it took them a while to get going. I would have liked to have seen more option to the outside in the first half. I think they were setting them up for that in the second half, and they did have some success. So I was grateful that they were, or was happy that they were staying patient with the run game in the first half, and I think it did show fruit in the second half.
Well, and this is more not on the offensive line, but on the play calling. I know we talk about it all offseason that last year the offense was too reliant on Adrian Martinez running the ball. But there's some games where I think he should get about 15 carries a game.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games.
And he only had 30. He had 8 carries for 38 yards.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like Nebraska was using him, but he was moving around mostly to pass. But he did have a touchdown run that was big. Once you get in the red zone, he is really valuable. So the running backs, I gave a C. As far as just running the football, Torrey had 1 carry for 16 yards. Yant 4 carries, 14 yards. They only ran for 140 yards and a long of 24. Ramir toward the end of the game when they got in to take the lead late and then weren't able to hold it. Wide receivers and tight ends, I give a B+. And the reason is I saw a lot of good things. Austin Allen had a touchdown catch. You had Oliver Martin with 39 yards receiving. Torrey, 3 catches, 37 yards. Manning had 2 for 21 on a 4th down play. Ramir Johnson, you could throw him into that wide receiver school, I mean, because they really threw to him more as a wide receiver. 6 catches, 105 yards, and a TD. So I thought the wide receivers and the tight ends played pretty well.
Yeah, and Levi Falks got a touchdown there. The only thing, again, I would like to see is Xavier Betts. They only gave him 1 carry on the night. I don't think they targeted him. I'd have to go back and look at some of those incompletions, but I just want to see him get more involved.
It was a bad pitch on one of the plays that Adrian pitched to you're right. It would have been nice to see. I think he has the potential to be their best playmaker, and they didn't use him at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, and they decoy him a lot running, pre-snap, but to me, it's just he's too good for Xavier Betts to lose the game by 3 and Xavier Betts to get 1 touch. That just leaves me a little bit. I mean, I just think maybe we think he's better than he is, or the coaches don't want to bring him along. But he's got a few touches in running the ball where he can get to the edge. The Michigan's defense was too fast. There wasn't. So maybe that's why. But he's one of the few guys I think could run with him. And then of course he had one of the best catches I've ever seen that didn't get counted. A few games ago early in the season. I just feel like that guy needs to be involved more.
I do too. Quarterback play, I've got a B- from Adrian. Up until the last few minutes, he probably would have gotten an A+, but that one big fumble at the end of the game, regardless of whether or not it was a fumble, they called it that way. And he also had an interception, but overall 18 of 28, 291, 3 TDs. He also ran for a TD. He played great, but it's that catastrophic mistake that you always look back, man, and you go, man, if he just could avoid that stuff, he would be even better, because he's been great.
Yeah, and again, I mean, at least for me, and I'm sure everybody went through their different emotions, but it was like a punch in the gut when it happened. I wasn't like upset. I wasn't throwing things. I wasn't mad. I was almost just sympathy for Adrian because of how much better he's played, how much effort and fight, and he's still got an injured jaw, how much he's giving to this program, and just for it to always happen at the worst moment. And it's frustrating because that's going to be part of his legacy at this point.
Yeah, it is. Defensive line, I gave a C. I thought they played great in the first half. They had 1 sack from Ty Robinson. No consistent pressure from this defense without blitzing. They don't have a pass rusher, and that's something we knew that they would have a problem with. But, sometimes a guy just needs to make a play. And I thought Nebraska had an opportunity. And Michigan State at that time was at their best running the football. They ran for 209 against the Nebraska defensive line, 4.9 per carry. They threw for 255. I think that they played good and really good at times, and then not as much in the second half. Is C too low for you for the defensive line?
I mean, it is what it is. The defense to me is, this wasn't their best performance. They were on the field probably too much. Credit Michigan for kind of changing up their game plan from what a lot of us thought. Nobody expected them to throw 38 times. That's a career high for Cade McNamara. And before last week when he threw 28, he wasn't throwing more than 17. So they've really evolved their offense over the last couple of weeks. So maybe that was a bit of a surprise. But yeah, I mean, it ultimately is just too much yards for this defense to give up and too many points. If you want to fight to be a top 25 defense, this isn't the performance that you have. Not that they were awful. It's just, it's not a top 25 performance.
Linebackers, I gave a B. I thought Luke Hendrich really played well. 15 tackles. He's the real deal. Reimer had 12 tackles. Doman, maybe not the best night that I've seen. 5 tackles. He had the pass interference. He didn't play terrible that I saw. It's just he wasn't the normal JoJo. And Michigan broke a lot of tackles, but that's what they do. Nebraska held them way below their average as far as rushing is concerned, and overall did pretty well. But I'm a tough grader. Sorry.
Yeah. And what I say with the defensive line kind of extends to the rest of the grades here too. But I will say this: Heinrich and Reimer are some dudes. They are tackling machines right now. Heinrich is tied 7th nationally with 58 tackles, and Luke Reimer not far behind him, tied for 11th nationally with 55. So those are some big accomplishments so far.
Defensive backs, I gave a B. Cam Taylor-Britt had his best game, 11 tackles.
Oh, yeah.
He had a couple of big breakups. He was really strong in the run game. Michigan tight ends were able to get open against Nebraska. I think that's more on the linebackers than it is the defensive backs. That was discouraging, but that's part of what they do. When they run the football, they get the tight ends open. So I thought the defensive backs played pretty well.
Yeah, and the tight end play was frustrating because it almost happened the same way every play where they fake block for like half a second, and then they're wide open. There's like no assignment whatsoever on them. So, but that can happen. It happened too many times for me to be too happy about it. But you're right. Maybe one of the best parts about the night is seeing Cam Taylor-Britt come back to form. I mean, that's what he looked like by the end of last year. If he can continue that play, this defense can hit another level.
And we got to get to break, but I gave the overall performance a B. I thought the play calling was pretty good, especially in the second half. I'd still like to see a gadget play when you really need a big play. Nebraska hasn't run a gadget play all year long. They showed some really good looks. The touchdown to Levi Falk, I thought was amazing. Where he's motioning and then he comes back and then he gets open on the screen pass. That was fun. So overall a B, but you got to win. That might be even a little generous overall because you didn't win.
Yeah, but at the same spirit of that, you take a top 10 team down to 3 points from where this team is at. Big picture stuff. I think it's fair.
It's just me being mad.
Yeah.
Let's get the break. Come back with the blog jog. We'll do that next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Dancing at weddings, walking the dog, playing with grandchildren. These are the small moments that make life great. They're also the moments that chronic pain steals from us. Don't let chronic pain stop you or a loved one from living life. At MD Pain, we wrote the book on effective, ethical pain management. We offer the most up-to-date treatments from Nebraska's leading physicians. Don't let pain stand in your way. Call MD Pain.
Dreaming of the perfect kitchen? More room for entertaining? Today, the Johnsons got both and saved by consolidating their debt. With a home equity line of credit, you can borrow money as you need it, have flexible payment options, and pay interest on only the money you're using. If you have equity in your home, the possibilities are endless with a home equity line of credit. What will you decide to do? Get started by visiting LibertyFirstCU.com today. Approval required. Equal opportunity lender. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
At Mountain Dew, we support the best and baddest disaster relief group in America, Team Rubicon. To show our support of Team Rubicon, Mountain Dew put in $1 million. And now you can help Team Rubicon too. Look for specially marked Team Rubicon bottles of Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, and Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. Enter for a chance to win weekly prizes at MountainDewTR.com and donate to Team Rubicon. You'll earn exclusive rewards when you do. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 and older. Subject to rules at MountainDewTR.com. Ends 10/3/2020.
Work out your stress and get back to feeling great at Planet Fitness. It's a great time to do your own thing. Now through October 13th, for just $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and get back to a routine that's right for you with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Plus, check out the crowd meter in our free PF app for the best time to visit. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends October 13th. See club for details.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Partly cloudy skies this morning should give way to plenty of afternoon sunshine. We'll top out at around 74, north winds at around 10. Heading into tonight, mainly clear, a low dropping down to 46. We'll top out near 76 tomorrow, but southeast winds could gust over 35. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to theticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
Prost, beer drinkers, and get ready for the best Oktoberfest party in the city at Kincaid Brewing Company in the Haymarket this Saturday, October 16th. Stop by anytime from noon to 10 p.m. Admission is free, and there will be live music going the entire time. Cornhole begins at 1 o'clock, and Stein Stamina goes from 2 to 6 p.m. Buy a beer Stein for $20, and you'll get your first fill free. Plus, a German Oktoberfest-inspired menu made from Grata will be available for food throughout. It's Oktoberfest from noon to 10 p.m. on Saturday at Kincaid Brewing Company in the Haymarket.
Grab yourself a hot dog, pour a glass of eggnog, and settle in. This is the Blog Jog on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We always look forward to Blog Jog time because we get an animal story. What do you think it'll be today, Bock?
I think it'll be about porcupines today. Porcupines.
I'm guessing since they're playing the Gophers this week, it's going to be about Gophers.
Oh yeah, good guess.
You guys are putting a lot of faith in me to have an animal story.
You know we love animal stories.
We love animals.
I know you love animals. Doesn't mean I have one.
All right. Well, just
about it.
note that one has been requested. So we want to.
I'll do my best, but
All
I
right.
can't promise you.
You can always make one up. Like
I could
just
always make
just
one
tell
up.
a story and include an animal in it.
Okay.
What's on the Blog Jog today?
All right. We're starting off with CBS Pittsburgh.
All right.
The Steelers and local authorities are investigating the spreading of ashes at Heinz Field.
It's happening too much or just once?
No, somebody broke it and spread somebody's ashes at Heinz Field.
I have a friend that did that at Memorial Stadium.
You did. You might not say that on air.
Well, this is years ago. The Statue of I mean, they wouldn't arrest me just because I know about it or I didn't turn
They
him
might
in.
interrogate you.
But
I know that's happened.
What year was it?
This has been.
Just give us a decade.
This has been about 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
12 years?
Yeah.
Is there any correlation between Nebraska being bad and those ashes being spread?
2009. That was a
Well,
good year.
well, here's the thing. Since then, they replaced the turf.
Oh yeah.
So I'm guessing the ashes would be gone. I mean, because it gets lost in
Unless they soaked into the foundation of the stadium.
Yeah.
Is that what you want though? Like your life?
It's illegal to do that.
Well,
Obviously.
yeah,
you can't do that.
But it just to me, like I love my sports teams. Absolutely love them. I don't think that that's necessarily like what I want my life to be remembered as a sports
If
fan.
you're in a hospital bed, if you're on your deathbed during the World Series, the Red Sox are playing and they win, and you're like about to die, like you just know it. You're just like spread my ashes to Fenway, like they just won the World Series.
I don't think it makes any difference. Throw my ashes out the window. Either way, I'm not going to know, and nobody else is going to care unless you get arrested.
You will live in Fenway forever. Well, he'll be dead in Fenway.
Wouldn't you
forever.
like the idea of knowing that when somebody's kicking up dirt at home plate, that it's
Kicking
actually
up Bock.
your ashes?
They're kicking up Bock.
Not necessarily.
Don't you want to know that when Aaron Judge hits a home run and slides?
You can't talk about trash when the Yankees got eliminated by the Red
That's
Sox.
right. No trash talking.
I can say what I want.
I can say whatever I damn want. What else is on the Blog Jog?
Well, I thought we were going to spend more time on that one.
Oh, okay.
No, it's fine.
What do you want to do with your ashes, Rico?
I don't know.
Are you going to be?
I don't know what I want.
Yeah,
I really don't.
It's a tough call.
I want like a Viking funeral.
The idea.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. I do kind of want that too, where you get sent off and then somebody shoots an arrow.
Yes.
Yeah, in the middle
That
of
would
the
be
ocean.
cool.
That'd be
And then
really
it just-
cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
And then it just burns and then it sinks.
Yeah.
What usually
I wanna do
happens
that
to the ashes is they're on an urn at the top of a mantle.
Yeah.
Right. You're
They
just
get
sitting
dropped
there.
at some point.
Yeah.
People feel bad.
I don't know if I would want that.
No. Yeah, I know. Like, I know relatives that have like kept the ashes with them in like a car, so they can go wherever they go. But then it just kind of gets thrown in the trunk next to some old Burger King wrappers or something. You know?
Yeah, if that's what you're gonna do with me, I would rather it into. You put me at Fenway. Fenway would be cool.
Just toss me into the Grand Canyon.
I would just want to be put in LeBron James powder that he does beforehand and just be tossed.
Oh,
up.
that would be
That'd
cool.
be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's my request.
I don't think LeBron would do it.
Don't tell him.
Oh, okay. Oh.
LeBron
Just
may
sneak
not
it
do
in
it, but
there.
I'll do it for you.
Oh yeah,
I'll
yeah.
do
Just
it.
have Tom do it.
And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die after you.
Yeah,
That's probably true.
makes
I'm only-
sense.
yeah, there you go.
Makes perfect sense.
Anything else?
Yeah, I have an animal story.
Okay.
I finally
Yay.
found one. This
Oh, this
comes
is
from
awesome.
simpleflying.com. An overweight cat causes Aeroflot, which is Russian airplane company place,
Oh.
to strip their member of his air miles. He had
What's that?
400,000 air miles, and he tried to sneak his cat on board instead
Oh,
of putting
yeah.
the cat in the hold. And they said, you know what? Just because of that, no more miles.
Your miles are out.
So he put him into his carry-on luggage. the
Yeah,
cat.
he tried to carry him on, but he's too fat. And they said, nope.
I wonder if that's successfully been done. I bet it has.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
past. Well, Fluffy doesn't make much noise. She'll be fine. She sometimes will crawl in there anyway to go to sleep. I'll just put her in the bag and carry her on.
Hopefully, it's not a long flight.
Well,
Have to be
yeah,
hidden.
I'm guessing I wouldn't like the smell of the bag after.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I'm allergic to cats, so if I would be
I am
very
too.
upset. Yeah, if I were next to that guy.
I don't know what I would do. I'd
I'm not a
sneeze.
big cat fan. I'm not a big cat
I hate
fan.
cats. Cats are dumb.
Now, if you're gonna
that's
sneak
big
on a
take.
pet,
I like cats.
No,
make it a
cats are dumb.
dog.
I hate cats. Cats are dumb.
Cats are kind of cool.
They're
Text
evil
line, what do you think
incarnate.
of that? I'm just allergic to them.
Yeah, I'm
I told you guys that story. I dated a girl way back,
That's
20
right.
years ago. And I finally said, well, it's me or the cat. And she definitely chose the cat
Yeah.
almost immediately.
Well, that's fair. I mean, that's her pet.
Do you want one more?
Yeah, one more.
A Florida sheriff is looking to return $2 million in marijuana to its rightful owner. Quote, it's the very least we can do.
$2 million worth?
They're not really going to return it. They're just trying to get somebody to admit that it's
Oh,
theirs.
Oh, yeah.
They do that all the time. And some people
Yeah,
will go.
they're doing it in a joking manner. They're just like, hey, we found all this weed at a mini storage facility. We just want to return it to its rightful owner, so please step forward.
That's a lot of weed.
That is a lot of weed.
770 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Good golly, Miss.
A lot of
Mike.
joint
A lot
possession
of joint
potential there, yeah.
That's right. Well done, Bock.
All of this.
How many joints can you make out of 770 pounds of...
The sheriff's department is sending some disconcerting signals.
They are. They definitely are.
Isn't everybody doing it in gummy form these days? Or maybe they are.
Yeah,
still.
pretty
I don't know,
much, yeah.
Tom. What are the people doing?
I don't know. I have to go to you kids to know.
770 gummies. Pounds of gummies.
Pounds of gummies. No, this is straight up weed.
All right.
Straight up weed. Thank you, Rico.
Hey, no
Appreciate
problem.
it. We got an animal story. We got a story about weed. It went really
That's
well.
what we're
on
looking
Plug
for,
Rap.
yeah.
Box tops today, the best of the weekend, of
Yeah.
course. We'll do that next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Partly cloudy skies this morning should give way to plenty of afternoon sunshine. We'll top out at around 74, north winds at around 10. Heading into tonight, mainly clear, a low dropping down to 46. We'll top out near 76 tomorrow, but southeast winds could gust over 35. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nguyen Vape is celebrating their grand opening with 20% off products all month long. They have the largest disposable vape selection in town and also carry Delta 8 and Delta 10 and various other moon rocks. If you're looking for help to relax, sleep, or ease pain, they have a variety of gummies you can choose from and Kratom that could help with pain relief, anxiety, and stress. You can't miss them right on the southwest corner of 27th and O Street. Nguyen Vape, your headquarters in Lincoln for vapes and Delta 8 or 10.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In football on Thursday, Lincoln Southeast shut out Bellevue East 35-0. Nebraska commit Jake Applegate would end the game with 3 touchdowns, all in the first quarter. In softball, number 2 Lincoln Southwest clinched the A2 district title over Lincoln Pius X. It came to the last inning where Lincoln Southwest would rally off 5 runs to win 11-10. In volleyball, Lincoln Pius X has struggled this week getting in the win column. On Tuesday, they lost to Fremont at home, and on Thursday, they lost both matches in the Papillion La Vista Triangular. In their first match on Thursday, they fell to number 8 Papillion La Vista in 3 sets. They would also lose their second match to Omaha Marion in 3 sets. In cross country, Lincoln Northeast senior Daniel Romery won the Heartland Athletic Conference Championship. He finished with a time of 16 minutes and 1 second. Northeast would win its first individual champion at a conference meet in 30 years. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to theticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers. Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
Welcome back, Husker fans. Eustace Body Shop is happy to welcome the best fans in college football back to Lincoln. With Gold Class certified service, OEM parts, and free loaner cars, Eustace Body Shop can call the right plays to keep you in the game. Whether it's in Lincoln at 88th and Highway 2 or at any of our other 5 locations across Nebraska, Eustace Body Shop can help get you back on the road. Go Big Red.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
93.7 The Ticket Sports News go now.
I'm Enrique Alvarez-Clary. Nebraska football fell to Michigan 32-29 inside Memorial Stadium on Saturday. After what seemed to be a defensive battle at the half with the Wolverines up 13-0, the Huskers scored 22 third-quarter points to take the lead going into the fourth quarter. That fourth quarter saw Michigan score 13 points, including the eventual game-winning field goal with 1:24 remaining in the game. The Blackshirts were on the field for 34 minutes, which was longer than head coach Scott Frost preferred.
I think it hurt the defense a little bit. We scored so fast in the third quarter that the defense was out there a long time. And I don't know if they were a little worn out at the end of the game. In these type of physical games, you get beat down a little bit, and we wanted to be ahead through that type period so we could keep our offense on the field and their defense on the field, and we hit some big plays, and our defense was out there a long time.
Next up for Nebraska, a road trip to Minneapolis to take on the Gophers of Minnesota. That game can be seen on ESPN2 with an 11 a.m. kickoff. Nebraska volleyball had another 2-0 weekend that started with a 4-set win over Penn State and State College. The Huskers followed that up with a sweep of Rutgers in New Brunswick. They're back inside the Devaney Center for the next 2 games this week, a midweek matchup with Indiana on Wednesday at 8 on ESPNU, and a Saturday tilt with Illinois on Nebraska Public Media at 6 p.m. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Coppell Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I always tell people, I just hope they see a guy that loves what he does.
Jake Bockoven.
I didn't get any stupider, I know that. I had never been very smart.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Hour number 2 of Tom and Bock on a Monday. Your reaction to another tough loss, this time to Michigan on Saturday night. Love to hear from you. 464-5685, the Sutter Heyman text line, the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Either way, we're all 10-year-olds. The joint possession thing is, how did that take off on social media? Did it surprise you that joint possession is this big? Right now?
There's just a lot of jokes to be made. I know Rico and Schaefer immediately had a little quib about, whoever you want, Tom Osborne, Governor Ricketts. There's a lot of easy proponents out there or people against it. So
it is somewhat funny. I didn't think it would take off like it has. Joint possession, just a little phrase like that.
You get in trouble for that as a teenager a lot of times with your parents.
You will. You'll get in trouble with that. As we learned in the blog jog, you sometimes get
That's
in
right,
trouble.
yeah.
I don't know about. I don't know if you saw did you see the Cleveland Browns Chargers game yesterday? San Diego.
I didn't watch that one.
The LA Chargers played the Cleveland Browns, and it was a great game at SoFi Stadium. But the Chargers ended up winning at 47-44. Great game from Herbert, Justin Herbert's stud. I didn't think he would be this good. I really didn't think. You could make the argument he's the best young quarterback right now in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Probably still wouldn't take him over Mahomes, but there's an argument at least to be made the way he's playing right now, and that's a really good team. But they went up and down the field. But man, Brandon Staley, I should say, their head coach, 4th and 2 at his own 24, and he went for it, and they got it. I think they called a draw play, and Austin Eckler got the first down. I'm going, man, that you would never consider that. It's still crazy that you would even consider that.
From a 24.
From your own 24, and then later in that drive at the Browns 24, they went for 4th and 7. I mean, they didn't want any part of kickers.
Yeah.
To kick field goals. And I think I saw the stat where yesterday in the NFL, there were 10 missed field goals, at least 10 missed field goals and at least 10 missed extra points for the first time ever since the new rule went in place, I think, in 2015, where you're now kicking extra points from the 35-yard line. The kicking's been, in some cases, miserable. And coaches are just saying, the heck with it. I'm going for it. But on your own 24, that's crazy. But that's part of the analytics that I think is out there. And because Staley's a really young guy, maybe he just embraces it at a higher level than some of these old school guys do.
Well, yeah, and I don't know at what time of the game that was, but there are some games like that one. It ended up 47-42, the Chargers win, where it's not a field goal type of game. You're going to need touchdowns to stay into that game. So that doesn't say a whole lot about going for your own 24, though. I know Frost did that a few years ago against Ohio State. I don't remember where it was, somewhere around there, though, and it was very surprising. But it was kind of that aggressive, we're the underdog. Let's show them that we have the goal to go forward here. And so maybe it was just kind of a message sent. But that's like you were saying in the break, anytime anybody gets near the 40 now and it's a 4th and short.
Even your own 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to your own 40 and you're going for it.
Yeah.
It feels like at least more often than it ever has been.
Unless you're Iowa, and then you'll punt.
And then you're Iowa, yeah, because that's your best weapon is your punt. Your kick coverage is really, really good. By the way, Iowa looks good, but then they got the gift of another 4 interceptions, but they're also able to get them a lot. And I think it really helped them that Sean Clifford went down for Penn State because the backup was Roberson, whoever that guy.
Yeah, he was rough.
He was awful. For Penn State. Yeah, you don't have anybody better than that. But that's
tough spot to jump in and play that Iowa defense.
It is. I mean, even if you're good, you're in trouble a little bit with that.
Sean Clifford's first pass was a pick.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can't force it in against them. But he also hit them for a few big games. But Iowa's defense is for real. They are the truth. I still don't buy that they're as good as advertised. I mean, they win. They win. But today, if they win against Ohio State, they would get mashed in my mind.
We'll see. I don't know about mashed. I think they're good enough, have enough respect for me to think that they're solid. But Ohio State's really coming on too.
Yeah. So there you go. Just a few things that happened over the weekend. Of course, your Red Sox still looking good. That was a crazy play in the outfield that you benefited from, but you still got the walk-off anyway. Maybe you would have won anyway last night, but the Red Sox now up 2-1 in that series over Tampa Bay. It's time for Box Tops. Category best of the weekend.
Best 10 performances of the weekend from college football. And I've got a few fun ones. So we'll start at number 10 with a fun one. Tell me if you recognize this name, Max Bortenschlager. Try to go through your Husker history. Max Bortenschlager.
I love Bortenschlagers sometimes with crispy, but I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know Bortenschlager.
Max Bortenschlager, as a freshman at Maryland, was 14 of 29 for 191 yards and a touchdown, and a 28-7 loss to number 18 Nebraska in 2016. Somewhat of a forgettable game. It was Riker Fife's second career start. Remember, Tommy was out for the year. Special Senior Day tribute to Sam Foltz, but Max Bortenschlager started that day for the Terrapins. No longer with the Terrapins. He's over at FIU. He was 19 of 30 for 466 yards, which was the third highest total for the week. 4 touchdowns and an interception. FIU still fell short.
466 was the third highest?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of yards out there sometimes. FIU fell short to Charlotte 45-33 to drop to 4-1. If you give me a second, I'll get the top 2 because these guys are doing it every week. And I mention them once in a while, but they usually lose. Brendan Armstrong, I've mentioned several times for Virginia. He was 40 of 60 for 487 yards in their win over Louisville. But Bailey Zappi, the quarterback at Western Kentucky, is always up here. 38 of 60 for 523. And 5 touchdowns, and they lost 46-52 to Texas San Antonio.
It used to be just Mike Leach coach teams would get that kind of yardage, over 400. Now, so many different quarterbacks are throwing for over 400. It's not even a big deal anymore.
Yeah, it really. There was 8 of them this week. I mean, it's a lot of like Mike Leach type offenses now that kind of leak down to the lower levels past the Power 5. So
it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, and I never thought I would hear from Max Bortenschlager again. So that one popped out.
That's good to hear his name. Not that I remember it much the first time.
Right. How about number 9 on my list? A little roundup for former Huskers. Greg Bell stood out this week for San Diego State. 21 carries, 111 yards, and a touchdown in a 31-7 win over New Mexico. For the year, he has 520 total yards rushing. That's good for 27th nationally, 5.5 yards per carry, and 5 touchdowns. And he had one game against a really lower level competition that he didn't play much. Otherwise, he'd have more yards.
Well, he was Nebraska's starting running back. Was it 2019?
Yep.
And then he left
2018,
town.
I think.
2018 was
Yeah.
it? 2018. And then left town once he lost his starting gig.
Yeah, a Zigbo took it from him.
I don't think he would have been. I don't see that he's better than Ramir, or at least I didn't see signs of it now. But he's having a really good year.
Yeah, not a bad year for him. A couple other ex-Huskers to update you on. Wan'Dale Robinson, we update him every week. 8 receptions, 60 yards, and a touchdown. He's still the SEC's leading receiver with 527 yards receiving. Only a few more than Samari Toure, who Nebraska might not have if Wan'Dale was here. So that continues to be interesting. 4 touchdowns on the season for Wan'Dale, and a huge week. If he really wants to break out, Georgia this week, a defense that doesn't allow anybody to break out on them. That would be big for Kentucky. And Georgia's a huge favorite in that game. Kind of surprising to me. Kentucky's not getting a whole lot of respect. One other Husker to update you on, Avery Roberts, 11 tackles in Oregon State's defeat 31-24 to Washington State. He has double-digit tackles in 5 out of 6 games this season, and he's 4th nationally with 62 tackles.
I would love to have that. Is he playing mostly outside linebacker? Mostly outside linebacker, I believe.
Yeah, I'd have to
He's really fast. I'd love to see him at the. I wish he wouldn't have gone. But he was not getting. He was buried on the depth chart.
Yeah, as a freshman,
he was. But
he was expecting to play right away.
No, he was a big 4-star
Yeah.
player, and he was a little bit buried on the depth chart. But you would like to have thought that he could have emerged as a really good player had he stayed.
Yeah, and like I said, he's 4th in tackles, but I mentioned this earlier. Nick Heinrich, how about a hand for him? Tied for 7th, top 10 in tackles so far this year in NCAA.
Wow, I didn't know that. I obviously had a great weekend with 15 tackles this weekend. That guy's a ball hawk.
And it's Heinrich. It's hard to. Every time I read it, I want to say,
is it
Kirk Heinrich?
do I say Heinrich? I think I have.
Yeah.
I sometimes vary it. It's Heinrich. Sorry.
Yeah, but top 10 in tackles. Luke Reimer, for what it's worth, tied for 11th with 55. So that linebacker unit for Nebraska racking up the tackles. How about number 8 on my list? A guy, just a name I really wanted to say, Ladd McConkey. He's Georgia's wide receiver. He had 5 receptions for 135 yards and a touchdown in a 34-10 win over number 18 Auburn. For what it's worth, his teammate Stetson Bennett is really doing well in the absence of JT Daniels, who's been injured. 272 total yards and 2 touchdowns. But really all he has to do is make sure the defense gets the job done, and he just kind of has to pace the offense. Georgia now number 1 in the poll for the first time since 2008. First time ever as a unanimous number 1, and first time in the regular season since 1982. That 2008 year, they didn't impress too much in their week 1, so they were dropped to number 2 in the first week after games. They joined Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and LSU as the only teams to be ranked number 1 since 2015. Not a whole lot of them.
That defense is for real, right? And I think Stetson Bennett's okay. Obviously, JT Daniels better. But when they get him back, I think they'll be much better off. I mean, Bennett's a walk-on, and he sometimes plays like it to me.
What world do we live in where Stetson Bennett's leading the number 1 team in the nation, Iowa's number 2, and Cincinnati's number 3?
I know that can't. if that lasts through the year, and that there's no way that could last through the rest of the year.
No,
there's no way.
I mean, those teams could all go undefeated. They won't. I think this is a lot of people have been making the comparisons to 2007. I think this is a crazy year, and it's great for college football. I love it.
Well, Cincinnati probably will be in. I mean, if their schedule the rest of the way is not that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already played Notre Dame. They've already played Indiana. They played the tough games. I think they might be okay the rest of the way.
Well, we'll have to see when the College Football Playoff Committee comes out. Remember what they did to UCF. There's a lot of respect in the AP and the coaches poll, and then the College Football Playoff Committee gets together and say, Power 5 football are bust. So they might be ranked like 14th in all actuality to the polls that matters right now. Number 7 on my list, how about a tight end with 232 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns? That's Coastal Carolina's Isaiah Likely. This, of course, happened Thursday night. They beat Arkansas State 52-20. I don't know if he was part of sawing off that Red Wolves head in the locker room, but he certainly had a good game.
But if he were giving it for Hassan off the head, the fake head of a Red Wolf, a stuffed Red Wolf, then should get added points for that. But 4 touchdowns is really good.
Yeah, anybody that jumps into the top 10 that's not a position, like if you're a quarterback that rushes for the top 10 yardage, you'll get my list. If you're a tight end that makes the top 10 in receiving, you're going to get in my list because that's quite an accomplishment.
Congratulations, you're on Bock's list.
Yes, it's very important to make my list. but you're number 7, so it's not that good. You need to move up higher. Number 6 on my list. How about C.J. Stroud? A lot of rumblings early on in his career at Ohio State. Now he's settling into things. 24 of 33 for 406 yards and a 66-17 win over Maryland. Oh, and 5 touchdowns. Right. Pretty easily when Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are getting 2 of them, and Travion Henderson gets the other one. So a lot of weapons at C.J. Stroud's disposal. But he is, all that talk about who's the best quarterback in the Big Ten,
CJ Stroud
taking it over.
Yeah. I think that's back-to-back 400-yard, 5-touchdown games.
Oh, yeah. He's pouring it on.
He did the same thing last week against Rutgers, who I thought was okay. I thought Maryland at one time was okay. Not when you play Ohio State. They just run everybody off the road right now.
Yeah, and watch out for them in the college football playoff eventually. This could be kind of like the year they won the title in 2014. They lost to Virginia Tech early, and then they kind of put it together. They look to be one of the hottest teams right now. How about number 5 on my list? The nation's leading rusher, Kenneth Walker III. He's added again, had another, I don't remember what exactly it was. I think it was 94-yard run.
It was a school record, 94 yards.
Yeah, an incredible run to lead Michigan State to a 31-13 win over Rutgers. 29 carries for 232 yards. Touchdown, so 8 yards per carry. He's number 1 rushing for the week and for the year. And he's got like almost 100-yard gain, I think, on the next guy. So he's looking like he might lead the nation this year. We'll see how that turns out.
You think he's a legit Heisman candidate, though?
The problem is who's a legit Heisman candidate?
Right. Bryce Young probably just fell off the map.
Yeah.
After this weekend, right? Losing to
A&M.
A&M.
And I like Cincinnati to get a shot. I don't know if I feel like Desmond Ridder has played enough still to win the Heisman. Is that fair to say that Cincinnati can get in without who they've played, but Desmond can't win a Heisman?
Yeah, and I thought Bijan Robinson at Texas might be and they had to probably win this weekend. They probably had to beat Oklahoma for that because he looked great in that game. I don't know who the leader. Maybe it is Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
Maybe
because I don't know, like you don't want to even have a career award guy. Sometimes if you don't have a special season by somebody will get the carear award. I don't know who that would be right now.
Yeah, this seems like a year where a guy like Kenneth Walker could win it.
Yeah,
just because you don't have a marquee team with somebody on Georgia, but I don't know who I would pick on Georgia.
That's a team effort. There's nobody with one individual stats that are
their defense is so good, but there's nobody you really pick on their team. So
I was the same way. You can't pick one guy. So it's going to be fascinating to see that race play out too. For what it's worth, Jalen Naylor, you remember him from Michigan State, had a pretty good weekend as well. Number 3 in receiving yards in all of college football this week with 221 yards, 5 receptions, and 3 touchdowns. A lot of that in the first half against Rutgers.
Naylor had touchdowns of 63, 63, and 65 yards.
That's a big play for that, huh?
That's a really Thorne's not terrible. Thorne's not terrible.
No.
He's pretty good. And Kenneth Walker, obviously, is really good. That's a pretty good team. It's time to say Michigan State's pretty good. And well, they're top 10, but they feel almost like a top 10 team now. Maybe they won't be. They didn't kill Rutgers, but they beat them handily, 31-13.
And I think Big Ten has 5 top 10 teams, and that's the first time that's ever happened. So good job for the Big Ten.
Nice job, Big Ten.
Number 4 on my list. I know they came up short, but they weren't expected to win, and they just put up numbers. How about this duo from Texas? Casey Thompson first, the quarterback, who, remember, didn't start for Texas to begin the year. He went 20 of 34 for 388 yards and 5 touchdowns. Xavier Worthy, the wide receiver, had 9 receptions for 261 yards and 2 touchdowns. Texas, of course, came up short, 48-55, because number 3 on my list, Kennedy Brooks, ran that last touchdown to seal the win for Oklahoma. He had 25 carries, 217 yards, and 2 touchdowns himself. That was good for second in the nation in rushing this week.
Nebraska's had some tough to swallow losses, but when you're up 28-7, that's tough to swallow.
Yeah.
And then Oklahoma went on to outstorm in the second half, 28-10. I wonder if Caleb Williams is for real, and that Radler, because I doubt that. I don't know for sure if he's the full-time guy now, but that was a great performance, and he made some throws that were incredible.
He was way better in that game. So, it's tough to tell. That was the difference in the ball game. And, I'm like looking at questions around Twitter. What's Rattler going to do? Is he going to transfer? Will he go pro? What's going to happen? Not exactly have the most momentum in the world to go pro. So who knows? Maybe he could be on Lincoln in Lincoln next year on the Nebraska side.
There you go. Start rumors. That's always fun.
Yeah, mid-season while he's
I
still
would
on
take
the other
Spencer
team.
Rattler if he wants to come on by.
Yeah, if Adrian
leaves,
would you take Adrian or Spencer Rattler?
I would rather have Adrian,
Yeah.
but because I think he fits the style of offense better. I don't think Rattler's great. I think he's very, very solid.
Yeah.
Very solid.
Number 2 on my list, another group effort this week from Iowa. The secondary, once again, 4 interceptions. Matt Hankins, Jack Corner, Riley Moss, and Justin Jacobs get them this time. And it's just fun. This Iowa secondary is fun to watch. Riley Moss now has 4 interceptions. Matt Hankins, their other starting quarterback, has 3 interceptions. Their free safety, Jack Corner, has 2. Kavion Merriweather has 1. And they have a JoJo Doman type player that plays off outside linebacker, kind of a safety. Dane Belton has 2. So for the secondary there, that's what, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 12 just from the secondary alone. 16 interceptions in 6 games. That's 2.66 interceptions per game. So you round that up. They go into every game thinking they're going to get 3 interceptions. The next highest total, like I said, they have 16 interceptions in 6 games. The next highest total is Kent State at 12. Only 2 other teams have 10.
Stop trying to throw it into them. I mean, establish some sort of run or short passing game where you don't throw interceptions against Iowa, because they've proven that they can catch the ball if you throw it at them.
And they just are takeaway specialists. I know that you see the stat every Iowa game. If you ever watch the Iowa games, I, of course, watch all of them. Where since 2017, they lead the nation in interceptions.
I can't take it.
That's just a fun team.
20 turnovers overall. I think they have 20 takeaways on the year.
And I had this stat too. I don't see if I can pull it up. They actually. I'll have to give credit to the guy that tweeted it out. Ralph D. Russo is a good college football guy to follow on Twitter. He said Iowa is tied for 4th in the country in total number of punts. In the top 10, New Mexico State, Vanderbilt, New Mexico, UConn, Illinois, all those teams you'd expect. The record of the non-Iowa teams in the top 10 for punts are 12-45. Of course, Iowa is 6-0.
Nice. There was a joke that somebody made. I think it was about the red zone that. Oh, The Simpsons. It was on The Simpsons that there should be a punt zone. There's a red zone. There should be a punt zone. Iowa could be featured on the punt zone.
They are a punting specialist and somehow number 2 in the nation. Number 1 on my list before we get to the end of it, Zach Calzada. Everybody loves Zach Calzada this weekend because rarely do we see Alabama get beaten, but the Texas A&M quarterback led the Aggies to a victory, 21-31, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception, and a 41-38 win over number 1 Alabama on Coach Jimbo Fisher's 56th birthday. Also, we can get out of the way that record that Nick Saban has,
24-0.
undefeated against his the guys that used to work for him. Jimbo.
I forgot that Jimbo was once on his staff, but yeah, he was one of those guys, and you're right, Saban was and the 100-game winning streak against unranked teams. Which is the longest of the poll era. So they had that. I mean, Saban just doesn't lose very often, period. But he always beaten his assistants. That was a badge of honor for him. It's like, line up against me, I'll crush you.
What do you think about them falling to an unranked team, only falling to number 5 in the polls? A lot of people
Alabama.
disliking
Well,
that.
that's one of those things. What are you going to take? Cincinnati undefeated or Alabama with 1 loss? Alabama, of course.
Yeah,
you're going to take Alabama, and we're going to call them, frauds at the end of the year. So that'll be good. We can yell about Alabama and the SEC getting all the bennies of being in the SEC. I'm sure that's a discussion that will happen. I mean, it feels like that scenario is just they are already setting it up, right? That's why you always keep Alabama within striking distance. But as you mentioned, 5 Big Ten teams?
Oh yeah,
in the top 10. You might make the argument the Big Ten's better.
And I'd love to see Alabama. And of course, beginning the week, it was Alabama and Georgia are just so much better than everybody else. There's just so much space between them. They're so much better. And then Alabama loses. Of course, in the modern era, where Alabama needs 2 losses to be eliminated, that will be huge if they get it. And Clemson's obviously not getting in. If we get a playoff without Alabama and Clemson, what a rush of air that would be for college football.
It'd be awesome. So you'd have Iowa, Penn State, Ohio State,
Michigan.
Michigan. That would be good.
There you go.
In fact, you could make that argument obviously those teams are going to play each other, so they knock each other out. But right now, the scenario looks at least conceivable that you could have 2 Big Ten teams.
2 Big Ten teams, yeah.
2 Big Ten teams, I think, is possible at this point. Probably, if I were to pick 2, Iowa and who else? Iowa.
Just Iowa
and Iowa.
Well, it'll be hard. Penn State's not going to do it because
it'll be Ohio State and Iowa. I mean, theoretically,
Iowa would have to play well. I mean, but you could see like
Penn
a
State,
Michigan.
Yeah,
Michigan State.
Iowa State couldn't survive a loss to Ohio State. Yeah, it's
if Iowa loses a close one to Ohio State, they could get in the Big Ten championship game. Penn State and Ohio State between them, it's not going to happen because one of them would have to lose their second game. But Michigan and Michigan State, if one of them just loses to Ohio State and doesn't get in the Big Ten championship game, then maybe one of them could get in. So.
I'm going to go with Iowa and then Iowa. To make,
that sounds good to me.
I really don't see two teams getting in, but it could happen.
Yeah.
464-5685. Love to hear from you. Sutter Heyman text line, Honda of Lincoln hotline. We're on Twitch. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, so you can see us on the web as well. More on the way. In fact, we're going to talk Tanya Taki next hour. We'll talk some Husker volleyball. Boy, what a big weekend for Husker volleyball. They looked fantastic against 13th ranked Penn State. So we will talk some volleyball coming up in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, the Big Ten Blitz will go through every Big Ten game, and we'll do that next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
Welcome back, Husker fans. Eustace Body Shop is happy to welcome the best fans in college football back to Lincoln. With Gold Class certified service, OEM parts, and free loaner cars, Eustace Body Shop can call the right plays to keep you in the game. Whether it's in Lincoln at 88th and Highway 2 or at any of our other 5 locations across Nebraska, Eustace Body Shop can help get you back on the road. Go Big Red.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Nguyen Vape is celebrating their grand opening with 20% off products all month long. They have the largest disposable vape selection in town and also carry Delta 8 and Delta 10 and various other moon rocks. If you're looking for help to relax, sleep, or ease pain, they have a variety of gummies you can choose from and Kratom that could help with pain relief, anxiety, and stress. You can't miss them right on the southwest corner of 27th and O Street. Nguyen Vape, your headquarters in Lincoln for vapes and Delta 8 or 10.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
One host has a red beard and thinning hair. The other also has a red beard and thinning hair. One host got married over the summer. So did the other one. One is a diehard fan of a sub-500 AL Central baseball team. So is the other. Can these two radio hosts do a show together without getting confused as to their own identity? The same couple, Happer and Schaefer. Weekday mornings from 8 to 11 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Experiencing increased body fat, low sex drive, lack of energy, or general fatigue? Vitalize Health offers testosterone replacement therapy and peptide therapy to boost hormone levels and build muscle mass. Call Vitalize Health today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Tired of interrupted printing or money-wasting long-term copier contract? Join Cartridge World's no-cost printer program. You get a free brand printer, free service maintenance and repair, free delivery. All this for just buying our high-quality, affordable printer cartridges. Simple agreements and local friendly service, as it has been for more than 25 years. Cartridge World. Contact us today.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. It is Tom and Bock. About to go through our Big Ten Blitz segment. I do want to let you know how we did on our picks of density over the weekend. Both of us 5-5.
I'll
Hey,
take that
and
considering
we-
my record this year.
Yeah, we picked a lot of different games, too. We didn't pick a lot of the same games. I picked Stanford to beat Arizona State. Arizona State, a big winner in that.
Did you pick them to beat them or to cover?
I picked.
That's a big pick.
I picked always to cover,
Yeah.
and but that's a big spread. 13, Arizona State favored by, and they won big. They won by 13, right?
I think they won by 17, I believe.
Yeah. So
to go back, that was Friday night.
And then we had Oklahoma at Texas. You picked Texas. That looked good for a long time.
Yeah.
I picked Oklahoma. I didn't feel comfortable about it, but Caleb Williams obviously comes off the bench and was fantastic. Bijan Robinson, I think if they win that game, he's the front runner maybe for the Heisman because he looked fantastic in that game. Now I don't know who would be the front runner for the Heisman, but I had Oklahoma. You had Texas in that one. You had Michigan State. For some reason, just on a feeling, I went with Rutgers. It was a bad feeling because Michigan State dominated that game 31-13. So you won that one. I did not. We both took Ole Miss, and we were both wrong because they did not cover the 5.5 points. Arkansas did that. That was a great game.
What a game, yeah.
In college football. Georgia easily covered over Auburn. I think that was 34-10. We both picked Georgia on that one. And I picked Penn State, and you picked Iowa State. I felt great about my pick for the longest time. They were up 20-10. Sean Clifford gets injured. Iowa's defense gets 4 interceptions. And so you were right on that one. I did pick the Lions and was wrong there. So both of us, 5-5. Should mention the other games that we picked. Notre Dame. I picked Notre Dame over West Virginia, or Virginia Tech, I should say. You picked Virginia Tech. We both took Alabama. We were wrong there, obviously. And we both took the Cardinals over the 49ers. We were right there. And I took the Bills, and you took the Kansas City Chiefs. And, of course, the Bills won big in that one.
Yeah, I'm giving up on the Chiefs now. It took. I had one extra week to
Their
hold out
defense
hope
is
for them.
awful.
Yeah,
I mean, they've given up 29 or more points in every game. Their defense, and they can't seem to run the ball at a high level. And Hilaire, it looks like, might be out for an extended period now. I know they signed Josh Gordon to the receiving crew, and maybe he'll help. But it just feels like they can't run it well enough. And Mahomes is kind of running around trying to make plays, and sometimes he does. And they'll be a playoff team, but they're not a team that's great right now at 2-3.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good division. And I mean, I guess the Broncos are going down or whatever, but still the Chargers there and the Raiders are solid. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch that play out. But the Bills the best team in football now? Because they didn't have their wins just weren't over very good teams, and now I don't know what to do with the Chiefs. Is that a good team win, or is that a 2-3 team?
The Bills look like the most complete team to me, with a great young quarterback in Josh Allen, who outdueled Mahomes. I mean, we're up to game 5, so this is probably going to change our view of the NFL. Will probably change 10 more times in the next 5 games. But that's what happens. But right now, the Bills look fantastic, and the Chiefs don't look fantastic. Let's do the Blitz.
The Big Ten Blitz. The Big Ten Blitz. The Big Ten Blitz.
Going around the Big Ten and looking at the games that happened this weekend. Number 6 now, Ohio State. They moved up to 6 over Maryland, 66-17. As you mentioned, C.J. Stroud had a big game, 406 yards, 5 TDs. Travion Henderson, nice game, 102 yards, 2 TDs. Ohio State just looks like they're Ohio State again. Like the team that we doubted in the Oregon loss, we're not doubting anymore. They're 5-1, and Maryland turns out to be a fraud about normal. Right on cue this time of year, it's Maryland turning out to be a little bit of a fraud at 4. They're still 4-2. They're fine. They're probably a bowl team, but they're not a great team.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, like we were mentioning earlier, C.J. Stroud now moving up those Heisman odds. I just looked him up after this past week. Bryce Young's still the favorite. Matt Corral, the Ole Miss quarterback, right there at second. C.J. Stroud a distant third, but, obviously moving up in the recent weeks.
I like Matt Corral at Ole Miss a lot. He does so many things well, and he's set up with an offensive coordinator that puts him in positions to score a lot of points like they did in that win over Arkansas this weekend. Matt Corral might be the high-profile guy, but his team has one loss, but it's just to Alabama, although they lost over the weekend. Of course, number 2, Iowa, now in the country. There were 3 going into that game against number 4, Penn State. Penn State's now 7th after the 23-20 loss. Iowa just does what Iowa does. I mean, that's the best way of saying it. You look at the stats, and you're going, how does this happen every single game that people just throw it to them 4 times? Because they only rushed in that game for 110 yards, 2.4 a carry. They couldn't do much, except they did plenty to win. That's Iowa.
Yeah, and it was quite a scene there at Kinnick Stadium. Obviously, they stormed the field. Which are you supposed to storm a field in a game in which you're favored? I'm not sure, but they did it anyway. And I mean, it was a comeback though. This was a gutsy win for Iowa to come back in that game. Of course, Sean Clifford got knocked out early in the game. He was at least lighting them up a little bit. And we mentioned that backup for Penn State, just not anywhere close to being ready for that Iowa defense.
Roberson was bad. He was 7 of 21 with 34 yards and 2 picks.
Yeah, so that kind of turned the tide of the game. But, that's what Iowa will do. I mean, we can make fun of their offense all we want. That defense is nasty. I don't know how many games now that they've held opponents under 24. They've got to they're going to be getting closer to 30 games of holding opponent under 24. I'd have to look up exactly what that number is. It's got to be like 27.
They're the real
at this
deal.
point. It's ridiculous.
So they have Purdue this week. They will host Purdue, and then Penn State has a bye this week. Michigan State 31-13 over Rutgers. Jalen Naylor, you mentioned it on Box Tops earlier today. A bunch of yards, including a 63-yard catch, a 63-yard, 2 of those, and then a 65-yarder, all for touchdowns. Naylor was great. Kenneth Walker was great, 233 on the ground. Maybe we have to start saying that Michigan State's pretty good.
I think we do. I mean, and then there's a number of teams that Oklahoma State's going to get tested this week. There's a number of those teams that are just still undefeated, and I don't care, who you play or how hard it is. I mean, it is hard to be undefeated halfway through a college football season. So give Michigan State a lot of credit. They shut out Rutgers in the second half. It was somewhat of a close game at halftime, at least one possession. So they just kind of had their way there, and we'll see. I mean, they still have some tough. For the Big Ten East is just incredible right now, but most of them have to play each other still. So we'll see how Michigan State does. They have Indiana, and then they have their test against Michigan. Have to wait till later in the season. Still have Ohio State and Penn State. So you have all those teams in the top 4 Big Ten East teams in the top 10, and none of them played each other yet.
Michigan State next has Indiana. They're at Indiana, and Rutgers is at Northwestern next weekend. They're 3-3. Obviously, Michigan State 6-0. Wisconsin bouncing back this week, as everybody does, against Illinois. Now 2-5. Wisconsin ran for 391 yards and 6 yards a carry. They had 2 guys way over 100 yards. Malushi had 145. Ches Malushi and Braquan Allen had 131 yards. Mertz was terrible. Again, 10 of 19, 100 yards and a pick. But he didn't have to be good because he was playing Illinois, and they were running the ball really well.
Yeah, I mean, that defense is for real, as is usually the case with Wisconsin, and they get back in the win column, so improved to 2-3. I still think if you're a Nebraska fan, you got to say that's got to be a win. Yeah. You have to be able to beat Graham Mertz. As you mentioned, he's really struggling this year. They can kind of get the running game going. Obviously, that defense is really good, but that's going to be a game where Nebraska just can't make too many mistakes. And then as is every week, the Illinois loss looks even worse, and it looks just pathetic this week. Getting shut out to Wisconsin. Artur Sitkowski, 8 of 27 for 55 yards. So his average completion, he only had 8 of them out of 27, and his average completion was for 2 yards of completion. It's pathetic, and somehow Nebraska lost to that team.
Yeah, but Wisconsin is good defensively. They held Illinois to 93 total yards in that game. Illinois has a bye this week. Probably couldn't come at a better time. They should just take a couple of weeks off and then quit, I think, at this point. But Wisconsin has Army this week. So that's kind of an odd place to put Army right in the middle of the schedule, but that's who they've got next week, not a Big Ten game. So there you go. Big Ten Blitz. Any thoughts?
No, again, I just think the Big Ten's really good. You have all those Big Ten East teams there. Iowa, by the way, I did want to mention this, and I mentioned it a few times on the post-game show, maybe because I talk about Iowa so much, is that they, at the end of the game, they had the victory formation, and they did it early. And I didn't listen to the post-game. The Nebraska game just started. I don't know if that was just because they didn't want to fumble, but they sat on the ball and then gave Penn State another opportunity. Granted, it was with that backup quarterback in the game, so they probably were pretty confident that he couldn't go 90 yards or whatever. But I've just never seen the victory formation before the victory is clinched. They took it so that they could punt without potentially fumbling, I believe.
Well,
that's Iowa football.
That's Iowa. I mean, that's classic Iowa. I mean, they would rather punt. Just go into punt formation. We do it really well.
Put the defense on the field. Don't worry about it.
That we feel much.
We're only
safer.
up 3. A field goal could tie it. We don't have a good offense for overtime, but let's just.
Sometimes I think Iowa's best chance to score is on defense. I mean, they've
so.
kind of proven it this year because that's not a dynamic offense. Although they're getting better, they're slowly getting better. And they had a couple of big touchdown passes in that game late that put them over the top. I should say. Let's get to break and come back with Wingman 464-5685. Now's the time to call to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Bock and I will persist. We're trying to be actors, and we're going to act out a movie. You tell us the name of the movie, and you get chickens. We'll do it next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Partly cloudy skies this morning should give way to plenty of afternoon sunshine. We'll top out at around 74, north winds at around 10. Heading into tonight, mainly clear, a low dropping down to 46. We'll top out near 76 tomorrow, but southeast winds could gust over 35. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Have you been to Barn Wood and Leather, that new furniture store in Lincoln? It's a whole new look. If you like country, you'll love Barn Wood and Leather. It's country with a kick. Rustic, yet contemporary. Handcrafted in America from historic reclaimed barnwood and the finest leather. Create your own one-of-a-kind look for a room or your whole home. Come see for yourself at Barn Wood and Leather, South 14th and Dahlberg. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
Experiencing increased body fat, low sex drive, lack of energy, or general fatigue? Vitalize Health offers testosterone replacement therapy and peptide therapy to boost hormone levels and build muscle mass. Call Vitalize Health today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
Every time the back door closes, it squeaks and reminds me of how I used to go out back for a cigarette 2-3 times a day when I was stressed, when I was hungry, when I was bored. But then I think of how the stale taste lingered in my mouth, and I reach into my purse and pop a stick of gum. And the craving is gone.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric has been serving Lincoln and Southeast Nebraska for over 50 years. They've been a trusted name to deliver honest, quality services you can count on. It's always important to know someone you can trust, whether it's for your home or your business. Action is well established and offers convenience and reliability, always committed to a job done right. Give them a call or visit their website at actionlincoln.com. Action, your proud sponsor of the Ticket Postgame Show.
Work out your stress and get back to feeling great at Planet Fitness. It's a great time to do your own thing. Now through October 13th, join for just $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and get back to a routine that's right for you with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Plus, check out the crowd meter in our free PF app for the best time to visit. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Hurry. Deal ends October 13th. See Club for details.
This is Wingman.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash. I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. You can be my wingman anytime.
Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings on 93.7 The Ticket.
645-685. Call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. So you can go buy chickens, of course.
Oh, yes.
Yardbirds. All right, it's Monday on Wingman. That means Movie Monday. We're not giving up on our hopes someday to be actors, Bock.
Oh, we both are actors. Remember, you were in that movie.
Actually, I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but I was in a movie.
That's what you said, yeah.
I was in Terms of Endearment.
You co-starred with, like, who was that? Like, wasn't that
Jack Nicholson was in it.
Nicholson.
It was a big movie. It was filmed in Lincoln. Shirley MacLaine was in it. It was fantastic. And my shoe also happened to be in that movie. If you stop, we were in a scene where a bunch of extras, we were walking across campus as students. And if you freeze frame at the right time, you can get a look at my Nikes from that movie.
But that's all just your shoe?
Yeah. Well, isn't that enough? What do you want?
Well, that's a good start.
Your face. That was the start and the end of my movie career. And I'm hoping to get some momentum back here with this segment. Again, 464-5685. Okay. Action. Hello, Peter. What's happening? We have a problem, Peter. You apparently didn't get the note. One of the new cover sheets. They're not on your TPS reports.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. I forgot.
Yeah. Well, you see, we're putting the cover sheets on all the TPS reports before they go out. Did you see the memo on that?
Yeah. I have the memo right here. I just forgot, but it's not shipping out till tomorrow. There's no problem.
Yeah. Well, if you could just go ahead and do that from now on, that would be great. And be sure to send you another copy of that memo. Okay.
I have the memo. It's right.
There you go. And scene. Do you know the movie?
I believe so.
All right. 464-5685. Let's see if James knows. I thought the acting was flawless, really, on that one. What do you think, James?
Office Space.
Nice work.
It is Office Space. Didn't need. I've always wondered if The Office really came from just watching the Office Space. This is Mike Judge, of course, creating this. It was a good cast. Jennifer Aniston, you always forget she's in that.
I didn't know Mike Judge made this. Created Office Space?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know
It was
that.
a Mike Judge thing. It was basically about, cubicle environment.
Yeah.
Cubicle environment. It became a cult classic.
Yeah, was it too big at the time?
I don't know that it ever made a ton of money at the box office.
I think it made.
Did it?
Let me look it up. I would think it made.
But yeah, you're right. It at
decent
least
amount.
sticks around for generations.
This is the scene that we tried to act out.
12.2 mil.
12.2. That's not a lot of money.
Not a lot.
I mean, that's more of a cult.
I would take that.
That would be a cult classic, kind of like Clerk. I bet Clerks made more money than that. But this is the scene we were talking about.
Hello, Peter. What's happening? We have sort of a problem here. Yeah, you apparently didn't put one of the new cover sheets on your TPS reports. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. I forgot. Yeah. You see, we're putting the cover sheets on all TPS reports now before they go out. Did you see the memo about this? Yeah. Yeah, I have the memo right here. I just forgot. But it's not shipping out till tomorrow, so there's no problem. Yeah. If you could just go ahead and make sure you do that from now on, that would be great.
There you go.
And I'll go ahead and make sure you get another copy of that memo.
Great movie, cult classic. When they beat the copier, was it the copier to smithereens with baseball bats?
Yeah.
That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, was it the boss Lumberg?
Yeah,
Lumberg.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And was it Melvin who set
Milton.
fire?
Milton.
Milton's the one that set fire to the building.
Yes.
They keep moving his desk, and finally it's in the basement. It's I guess you had to be there. But most people know Office Space by now, right?
Yeah, I think
I would say so. How you doing, Nick?
Not too bad. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Are you mad? How you feeling today? Are you angry?
I wouldn't say mad.
Were you after the game?
Disappointed. I think that's
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Like a disappointed father.
Yeah,
Yes.
just disappointed or kind of bummed out. I think that would be a better description there. Yeah, they're. I hate saying this. They're close. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to say.
Well, you're going to say something on the radio.
Yeah.
right?
We'll dive into it quite a bit. I want to get your guys' thoughts. Maybe you've already talked about this. What did you guys think about the first drive going forward on fourth down?
I thought I could see doing it. I just would have called something better than what they called.
Right.
Bingo.
It felt like I've said this many times. Nebraska hasn't run a gadget play that I've seen the entire year. Yeah. And if you're saving something, I would think maybe goal line or just a gadget play in general, a flea flicker, anything. We haven't seen a trick play by Nebraska football really all year long, or even a wildcat might have been fun. I know Adrian's a running quarterback.
Just give him an option to throw if there's a possibility.
Yeah, just something. Maybe run the option and have the option to throw off of that.
Yeah.
But we never saw any of that all night long, not just on the goal line. But yeah, I thought take the points unless you have a play that you just know is going to be great.
I like the aggressiveness of it. I did. And they went forward on fourth early in that drive. Connor Culp hasn't been money, obviously, for kicking extra points, so or field goals for that matter. I liked it, and it's just one of those things you can come back and criticize if it didn't work. And obviously, it didn't look good at halftime when they didn't have any points. Yeah. And so at that point, it looked like it might be a field goal game. Yeah. This one ended up, 32-29. So. I like the aggressiveness of it, but like you said, third and fourth down, kind of similar plays, trying to get Adrian to the edge without an option to pass it. Yeah. I know that's their go-to in the red zone, but maybe at that point they hadn't established that they don't have the speed that Michigan's defense does, so they weren't going to get a whole lot outside.
That's exactly it. I liked the call. I truly believe that a lot of people wanted Nebraska to score 7 there, or 6 at least, because here's the thing is they always talk about starting fast. They always need to start fast.
Yeah.
That would have been the perfect way to do it. Your defense looked good on their first possession. You get out that would provide an even more boost of energy for the stadium, which would have been huge. I don't know if a field goal really would have done it. Yeah, it would have looked good in the meantime, and obviously hindsight's 20/20, but we always talk about starting fast. I'm the same boat as you guys. It would be nice to have a different play because I believe they brought in Chancellor Brewington. You kind of knew what was coming, and that whole drive they hadn't been able to get out to the perimeter.
Go ahead.
I really like it too because it shows faith in your offense and your defense. Yeah. It says, okay, the offense, we're going to give it a go. We've done all this work, and then the defense is saying, if we don't get this, good luck going 94 yards on our defense. We already had a shutout, a 3-and-out to start the game. We believe in this defense throughout. At that time, you're thinking Michigan is going to have to run the ball to win it. So I really like the call. I like, and I hope that doesn't sway him from doing it later because I think it's the right way to go.
I just would have showed it maybe a different look
exactly.
when you get something that you haven't maybe even shown this year. For example, they get in the red zone, but they're giving the ball to a 180-pound I-back instead of a guy in Jaquez Yant who's 230. And I would think on the goal line, or they even showed a little bit with him at fullback. Yeah. That could be a look.
They had like the diamond formation out there a few times.
Yeah, they had some looks, and I really love the pass to Levi Falk where he's in motion. He motions back to the line of scrimmage and then back out, and they hit him for a screen. Love that type of stuff where you kind of use Michigan's
fantastic play.
We use Michigan's speed against them. But unless you have something that maybe is going to work, I just disagreed, not so much with the decision to go for it, but the play call that they were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Frost actually said an interesting thing today, talking about Ramir Johnson, is how he started the fall camp in fifth place on the depth chart, and gradually, but there was problems at the start of him not giving 100% at practice, and so it's just interesting to see and hear from Frost directly on how much he's progressed just in a couple months.
Are the bites in? Maybe
not sure if they're in, but I'll cut them here.
He spoke to the media today. We'll get those to you eventually. You'll definitely hear him on the radio station at some point. But I want to talk about that. We are getting some reaction, and I want to budge in on that. But that was one of the things I did have on the list to talk about today, that decision to go for it. And it's one of those analytics things that you're seeing, as we mentioned, throughout college football. Are you okay with that decision to go for it instead of kick the field goal? on Saturday night. Let's get to break. Come back with more on Tom and Bock.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Building a house today is completely different than it was a year ago. It's great. It's a great time to build a house.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
Interest rates are fantastic. Our lot selection is fantastic. Being a large volume builder like we are, we tend to get very good discounts from our suppliers, which has been very helpful. So if you want to build right now, it's a great time to call, make an appointment, set a budget, sign a contract. You're locked in. I'm locked in. Let's figure out your location. Let's get that lot reserved. It allows you then to have some freedom and room to sell your home for a great profit. In the end, it's going to be a win-win for you.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Every time the back door closes, it squeaks and reminds me of how I used to go out back for a cigarette 2-3 times a day when I was stressed, when I was hungry, when I was bored. But then I think of how the stale taste lingered in my mouth, and I reach into my purse and pop a stick of gum. And the craving is gone.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the sidetrack band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
The weather has changed, and now it's time to adjust your footwear to change along with it. Stop into Brown's Shoe Fit at 66th and Q to get ready for cooler temperatures and fashion trends. They're stocked with Hey Dudes, Brooks, New Balance, Danner boots, Keen or Merrill hiking boots, and plenty of other options. Plus, they have Nordic beach jackets and Bindle tumblers to take to the gym with your new athletic shoes. So get to Brown's Shoe Fit today at 66th and Q.
Businesses from all over the capital city are excited to welcome you to the 2021 Lincoln Expo on Wednesday, October 13th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Safely enjoy one of the region's largest business trade shows as you network, find out about Lincoln businesses, and enjoy the many interactive booths. The Expo has something for everyone, including the popular Lincoln Craft Beer Tour and a free Lincoln t-shirt. Best of all, it's free to attend. The Lincoln Expo, showcasing and celebrating local business.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606. or learn more at highelectric.com.
Tired of interrupted printing or money-wasting long-term copier contract? Join Cartridge World's no-cost printer program. You get a free brand printer, free service maintenance and repair, free delivery. All this for just buying our high-quality, affordable printer cartridges. Simple agreements and local friendly service, as it has been for more than 25 years. Cartridge World. Contact us today.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket. Sports news go now.
to Alvarez-Clary. Nebraska football fell to Michigan 32-29 inside Memorial Stadium on Saturday. After what seemed to be a defensive battle at the half with the Wolverines up 13-0, the Huskers scored 22 third-quarter points to take the lead going into the fourth quarter. That fourth quarter saw Michigan score 13 points, including the eventual game-winning field goal with 1:24 remaining in the game. The Blackshirts were on the field for 34 minutes, which was longer than head coach Scott Frost preferred.
I think it hurt the defense a little bit. We scored so fast in the third quarter that the defense was out there a long time. And I don't know if they were a little worn out at the end of the game. In these type of physical games, you get beat down a little bit, and we wanted to be ahead through that type of period so we could keep our offense on the field and their defense on the field. And we hit some big plays, and our defense was out there a long time.
Next up for Nebraska, a road trip to Minneapolis to take on the Gophers of Minnesota. That game to be seen on ESPN2 with an 11 a.m. kickoff. Nebraska volleyball had another 2-0 weekend that started with a 4-set win over Penn State and State College. The Huskers followed that up with a sweep of Rutgers in New Brunswick. They're back inside the Devaney Center for the next two games this week, a midweek matchup with Indiana on Wednesday at 8 on ESPNU, and a Saturday tilt with Illinois on Nebraska Public Media at 6 p.m. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Koppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I always tell people, I just hope they see a guy that loves what he does.
Jake Bockelman.
I didn't get any stupider, I know that. I had never been very smart.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of Tom and Bock. I'm Tom Stevens. He's Jake Bachhoven. Scott Frost spoke to the media today. Of course, the big news, Teddy Prohaska was injured during the game, left the game early, I believe, in the second quarter for good. Here's an update from Scott Frost on Teddy Prohaska. There is a chance that he could get a red shirt, but he is out.
Yeah, we'll see. More worried about him and his health and everything right now, and we'll work on eligibility issues later on.
I've heard he's played in 5 games, but sometimes they might add up the quarters, and who knows what you get from the NCAA. But man, if he were to lose his freshman season because of that, that would be terrible. But let's hope for the best on that one. Scott Frost, here's the update on Prohaska.
Yeah, Teddy had a knee injury. He's going to have surgery next week, and we won't have him back until spring ball.
Okay. Not much there. I could just go through some of the notes that he had to the media. The injury to Prohaska, he said that Benhart did well when called upon and handled the situation well. He said the offensive line had improved in the run game, and as a result, the offense as a whole had gotten better week by week. He said that it was tough to see Prohaska suffer an injury like that and this quickly into how well he's progressing. He's been progressing, obviously, at a high rate, and now this has happened. Said that some of what Nebraska was able to do on offense in the second half was set up by what they did in the first half. As we talked, they were patient with the run, and it paid dividends in the second half.
Yeah, and it's something that's been criticized before, Scott Frost's halftime adjustments, or whether they call them adjustments, or like you're kind of saying, just kind of slow playing it to get it prepared for the second half. This was great. I mean, because there's a period of time where the third quarter was not Nebraska's friend. They came out and just made it a ball game on the first drive. They needed that momentum. Ended up scoring 22 points, of course, in that quarter, and kind of took control of that game and had all the momentum going into the fourth quarter. And again, that's, it's sad. It's frustrating. You don't want to take moral victories anymore, but that's a victory within defeat that they won a halftime adjustments. And again, against a veteran coach like Coach Harbaugh.
Other things from Scott Frost, he said Ryan Held, having him in the box has been a real benefit for Nebraska in the option run game. He said that Ramir Johnson was probably 5th on the depth chart to start fall camp. And Frost would have been surprised if someone would have told him that Johnson would have the type of game that he did against Michigan. Frost gave a lot of credit to Johnson for sticking it out, continuing to work hard. He said that things started to click for Ramir Johnson during fall camp when he stopped trying to force things and just let it kind of happen. He said that Ben Hart has a really big opportunity this week against Minnesota. He's, of course, a Minnesota kid. Frost said the game at Minnesota the game at Minnesota 2 weeks ago, he felt Nebraska played uninspired football.
2 years ago, maybe.
No, maybe 2 years. Oh, it says 2 weeks ago, but that's probably 2 years ago. Frost said,
Sounds like that's what I thought 2 years ago.
That's definitely what I thought as well. He said it'd be important for Nebraska to maximize the snaps on offense because of the way Minnesota likes to control the football. Yeah, they'll try to do that. Michigan did that.
Yeah,
really had it, and it wore Nebraska down. You got to get off the field. Defensively, Nebraska was scoring at a high rate, and that gave Michigan the ball back. He said that Nebraska went helmets only today in practice, had a really physical game on Saturday. He said the players' response has been really clean, with a really clean day and good attention to detail. Norton Wheatley has exceeded his expectations. He was happy with William Pristip, the punter. Had a nice night. That was one of the things I didn't talk about, special teams. It was good, and the coverage was really good.
Yeah, it's a dangerous guy in Blake Corum.
They had a joint possession.
Right.
So that was good. That was on the kickoff. Wasn't that on the kickoff? That was on the kickoff.
Was that a punt? I think, yeah.
Or was that on a
kickoff or a punt? But it was,
And the only problem I see with Nebraska is 0 kick return yards, 0 punt return yards. 0.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not even attempting to be aggressive. And I understand why, because sometimes it's backfired for Nebraska and they get the ball at the 15-yard line or worse.
Well, and it's just a mentality they have going into the game. I remember, listening to the network on the way home, actually from Tipsy Tina's, to get prepared for the game. And Scott Frost said they're going to be pretty conservative in the return game. Because Michigan has a really good special teams, by the way. I mean, I think that's what he was alluding to, but it does kind of sting to hear, like I after hearing that quote, I knew pregame, they're fair catching it. They're just going to, and that might be what they do for most of the season. And I don't know, is that something that a football coach or team should be able to fix mid-season and get going? Or do you just say, to heck with it, this has been more problem than it is a spark for us. Let's just play conservatively in that area of the game.
And we did talk about, I think Frost addressed it after the game, going for the touchdown. And he wanted to be aggressive. He assumed that they would need touchdowns to win that game. But we asked you on the text line, I think they're going to talk about it, so we won't talk about it in length. But some people are mixed. Some think kicking the field goal was a good idea. Others think, you got to get 7 to beat Michigan. Ultimately, you came out on the side of being aggressive, right?
I like aggressiveness in that case every time, whether it's, I should say mostly every time. Sometimes, obviously, you need the 3 points, but I just always love having enough faith in my defense that you start a field position game if you don't get there. And Nebraska had the field position game. They kept playing it throughout the first quarter until their Pristip punted it to the 1, and Nebraska's field coverage couldn't get down there and get it, and they needed to.
That was really irritating.
Yeah.
I thought that on the third down play, maybe even the second down play, when Nebraska finally went 4 downs and tried to get the first down, I thought Adrian could have had a few more yards. Sometimes he goes out a little early. Now, we don't know what the injuries he's dealing with and the chin, that happened a couple of weeks ago. Or maybe that's part of the conversation.
Yeah.
I just thought he could have been there was an opportunity to dive to the pylon, I thought, on the third down run. And then the fourth down run, if he tucks it up, he had something there, but that was well snuffed out by the Michigan defense.
And I think they're very selective on when they're going to run him. So I think that is, whether it's the chin injury or whatever it is piling up on him. I think that is getting into the play calling, which is fair. I mean, that's part of what you have to do as a football coach. It's frustrating as a fan as you sit back and think, don't have to take any hits or anything. You just go, that guy needs to run more. That's what I said. I think that he should have ran the ball 15 times if all is fair and all in well, but I don't think he's healthy. I think he's doesn't want to take those hits. If you notice on the option, even he doesn't, he'll pitch it before there's an opportunity of him getting hit a lot of times, which is a safe way to do it. But sometimes on the option, you want to bring that guy all the way in, and he might take a licking, but you're going to get a big play out of it. But I think at this point, that's something to monitor going forward. How are they going to play call? How are they going to use Martinez and try to limit him from getting hit?
Yeah. Wet Blanket says every Michigan kickoff landed in the stands. That's not true. They did. There were a few that landed Nebraska caught at like the 1 or 2 yard line or right on the goal line that they could have returned had they had a desire. And under the old rule, you probably would have had to because you would have been out of the end zone if you touch it. But Nebraska just has not been aggressive trying to return punts, especially last week. I thought there were a lot of opportunities against Northwestern where they caught several. And it was great that Oliver Martin actually caught them. That's a good start. And Nebraska's doing a better job of that. I just would like to see them be a little more aggressive on when they get an opportunity to take it out and be aggressive and try to make something happen.
And they did this 2 years ago, too. I think it was 2 years ago. Might have been last year, but they kind of gave up on their kickoff return unit altogether. And we'll talk about it ad nauseum in the offseason, I'm sure, until it gets done. They need to address that, and it almost has to come from outside of what they have right now, because they've tried it with this staff. They've given the duties to this guy or that guy, or Frost is going to take over or whatever. It doesn't appear that the answer is within the locker room, and it's a problem year after year where you're just giving up what should be a scary play for opponents. You don't kick returns that should be scary. Like, you should be holding your breath, because that can be a game, kind of with outside of the offense and defense that shouldn't play a factor. And for Nebraska, it literally doesn't, because they're scared that something will go wrong with them, more so than being able to get something done. It's frustrating to me. And in the past, I've seen reasons for that. Maybe they don't have enough on the 2D, and maybe the walk-ons aren't this or that. Whatever the case may be, it needs to be addressed this offseason, because you're halfway through the season, and this is not the first time this has happened in the Frost regime, where they're getting so conservative they're hardly even giving an effort.
I think you have a real opportunity. You have an opportunity, and I think especially in the Big Ten, to build a culture through special teams. I mean, you look at Iowa and you think, man, they would rather punt than sometimes use 3 downs and try to get a first down. I mean, they're literally that good. I mean, they're a field position team, and they've got great punters. They've got great kicker. I mean, throughout the Big Ten, you see that. A good punter, good kicker, but they pin you deep. They rely on their defense, and they get a 3 and out, and then they go 30 yards in some cases for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference, that hidden yardage. Not so hidden when you see it, with a team like Iowa or Wisconsin in the past, or name your favorite Big Ten team. They're all so fundamentally sound, and you can't, even with the improvement, it sticks out like a sore thumb that Nebraska has a problem. Better job by William Pristup. I think he had 47 yards upon. Nice job.
Yeah.
Didn't attempt a field goal, didn't miss an extra point. Those are basic things that you should, just accept as, yeah, that's standard. You're doing the standard thing. Now let's go a little beyond that and actually do something, that's really maybe even kind of special on special teams, hence the name.
Yeah, but again, I don't know how easy that is to do mid-season when you're preparing for opponent, and it's just been a disaster. And that's why I think this is what you're going to see for the rest of the season. Maybe unless you're playing an opponent you think that you have an advantage on in that area. I don't know, like a Minnesota or Purdue would be the one, but you're only a 2.5 point favorite. I don't think you should be getting cocky like you're playing Northwestern again. So I think it's going to be pretty conservative, and I think that's probably the right approach at this point in time until the offseason when you can address it, because it's just been too mistake prone.
I mean, I know they've improved, and they've not had a disaster. I don't know how much
they've improved by not messing up.
They've improved by not being a disaster. But it is time for a full-time special teams coach. I hope that they go down that road, because they really need one. They really need one. Let's go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline and talk to Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hey, guys. Great show.
Yeah.
And to your point about Iowa and their special teams, I don't know if you paid attention to their game against Maryland a couple of weeks ago, but they were down 7-3. They got the kickoff, 40-yard return plus. So they had a short field, scored a touchdown, kicked off, caused a fumble at the 10-yard line, recovered it, ran in for a touchdown within a minute. They had control of the game, up 17-7, and then not too long later, they had another 10-yard field on an interception or a fumble recovery. Yeah. Their special teams give them probably 150 yards on a decent day for them. And I think we've mitigated ours so that we're not losing 150 yards a game like we might have been a few games ago, but they will I mean, when I hear people talk about their offense being very poor and pedestrian, that might be true, but they're also, they don't have to do, I mean, that game, they still gained over 400 yards of offense, even though they had two 10-yard fields.
Right.
It was a very efficient, decent offense, and they just are put in position, and they're not having to go 80, 90 yards like we have to go so much of the time.
I've said this so many times before. Maybe Adrian wouldn't have to be the magician all the time if you had great special teams. Like maybe you would be up 14 in situations where instead they're having to drive 60 yards to get a winning field goal or a winning touchdown to win a game. I look at Iowa. I've looked at Wisconsin, maybe not this year because Graham Mertz has been really bad, but in many cases with those teams, even Minnesota, you don't even notice the quarterback so much. Nebraska is so quarterback centric with their offense because they have to be. The margin for error is so small because you're bad on special teams, because you give up all that hidden yardage, because you're not dangerous in other areas outside of the quarterback situation, that you have to have a great performance from that guy. Otherwise, and if he does, he gets all the credit. If he doesn't, he gets all the blame. You never hear those discussions as much. I wouldn't say never, but you don't hear those discussions as much at a place like Iowa.
Yeah, and that's just it kind of depends on what your program is. I always like a dual threat quarterback that you put a lot on. So I like to have a quarterback-centric offense. But at the same time, if you could build those things around him, you get a strong running game and get everything else working around him. It's like we said with Georgia. Stetson Bennett, all he has to do is not screw up. He's a former walk-on, just he's holding place right now for their injured quarterback. Granted, he knows his defense isn't going to give up 10 points, but that's all he has to do is just control the offense.
It was like that back in the day. I mean, with Tommy Frazier, Frazier didn't have to play great for Nebraska to beat most teams. He had to play great to beat the Miamis, the Florida States, the really elite teams, the Tennessees, that type of thing. Then he had to turn it on. But for a normal game, it was just like, give it to where's Lawrence? Where's Amon? Let's run behind those big guys and win with special teams. And, it's over, similar to some Iowa games by halftime or the third quarter. But the margin for error, I get it right now because the special teams aren't good. It affects everything else. I just think that Nebraska could win some of these games comfortably if they were better at them.
Yeah, and the special teams numbers, I mean, just running through them right here. The net punting, 121st nationally. Punt returns, 126th nationally. Punt return defense, 110th nationally. Kickoff returns, 120th.
There's only 120 teams, right?
Nationally.
122?
Well, yeah, there must be 126 at least.
Okay.
They seem to add a team or two every year. But kick return defense, which was good this last week, helped them get up to 86th nationally. They're not 100 and something in kick return defense. Let's give one unit some credit. They're 82nd. So, I mean, you just go all down the list, and we knew this. You know that Nebraska is the worst special teams unit in the nation. But to see punt returns 126th for Nebraska, Nebraska have so many advantages than all those other teams, and somehow you're 126th.
And you can't tell me they don't have the weapons. They have the weapons. I mean, Cam Taylor-Britt, I was excited about his potential this year because I'd seen it last year. And, by the way, Michigan won that game for the most part because of special teams. Their kicker was ridiculously good. Didn't miss a kick all night, and their punter averaged over 50 yards a kick. And their coverage was fantastic. They won that game in part because of special teams.
I have to double check the number on this. This is in the Nebraska media guide, so it's kind of getting ready for the Minnesota game. It says they average 1.1 punt return yards per punt.
Is that what Nebraska? I thought. Is that it?
That means just instead of fair catching, you would be better off just catching and diving forward, and you'd be better than where Nebraska's at right now.
That's right.
I'll have to double check that.
That should be the new instruction. Just catch it and dive forward.
Fall for 2 yards, and we'll double our punt return yardage.
That's
average.
so bad. Oliver Martin has done a better job of catching it.
Yeah.
Is catching it cleanly. Now the next step is to take a step, and you'll be doing, or as Bock says, just fall forward, and you'll get more yardage than you're getting currently. Let's get to break and come back with Tanya Taki. We'll talk a little Husker volleyball. They're coming off another nice weekend. That Friday night performance left Nebraska alone at the top of the Big Ten standings in volleyball. We'll talk some Husker volleyball with Tanya coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
The weather has changed, and now it's time to adjust your footwear to change along with it. Stop into Brown's Shoe Fit at 66th and Q to get ready for cooler temperatures and fashion trends. They're stocked with Hey Dudes, Brooks, New Balance, Danner boots, Keen or Merrill hiking boots, and plenty of other options. Plus, they have Nordic beach jackets and Bindle tumblers to take to the gym with your new athletic shoes. So get to Brown's Shoe Fit today at 66th and Q.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from Yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good proof ready seal stain. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
Venue at Home is your answer for locally made, freshly prepared meals delivered to your door every week. Our meals come ready to heat and eat. With sizes for 2 people or 4, Venue at Home is perfect for busy people who want a quick, easy, and delicious meal option to share with your roommates or feed the whole family. Add on from our wide selection of appetizers, sides, desserts, alcohol, and more. Receive a discount on your meals by subscribing to get Venue at Home delivered every week. Visit venueathome.net to order today. That's venueathome.net.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SCC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Partly cloudy skies this morning should give way to plenty of afternoon sunshine. We'll top out at around 74, north winds at around 10. Heading into tonight, mainly clear, a low dropping down to 46. We'll top out near 76 tomorrow, but southeast winds could gust over 35. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known, but what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is searching for mechanics of all skill levels to grow with us. Landmark offers a competitive wage, full benefits package, along with paid time off within just 60 days of employment, as well as a 401k and a boot and clothing allowance. Interested in becoming a part of the Landmark difference? Apply now at landmarkimp.com/careers or contact Deanna 402-310-7561 or email careers@landmarkimp.com. That's landmarkimp.com. Landmark Implement is the equal opportunity employer.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Don't look now, but Nebraska volleyball is on the move. Number 1 in the Big Ten, suddenly 12-3, 6-0 in the league, coming off wins over Penn State on Friday night and Rutgers yesterday. Rutgers is not a great volleyball school, but they're 8-9 on the year after the sweep by Nebraska. But looking back at that Friday night performance, the 4-set win over Penn State on the road. I mean, that's not an easy place to play. It's probably changed, though. Has it changed dramatically over the years? Because Penn State's been really good for a while as we bring in Tanya Taki. What was it like playing Penn State on the road back in the day?
Okay, so back in the day, we were not in the Big Ten.
Oh, that's
So
right.
we
That's right. That's
actually
right. That's right.
never,
That's right.
Ever in the history of the world have I ever been to Penn State.
Well, that's right. Obviously, you weren't in the Big Ten. You were in the Big 12
Right.
at that
Yes,
time
we were in
playing
the Big
for Terry.
12, but we did play Penn State, 4, 5, 6 times while I was there.
Yeah.
96 was a big win to go to the Final Four. It was, back when it was before rally scoring, and then the 5th set was a rally score, and it ended up being like 22-20 or something. Bill Burns said it was the best college game he'd been to regardless of the sport, just because it was so exciting.
Rally scoring. I remember the change. It hasn't been that long ago since they did it. That was a great
Trivia
move.
question: when did they change it?
I'm guessing 2012.
2000.
2000. Okay. All right.
My senior year, 99, was the last year of real volleyball, and then they switched it. So I have never played with a libero, and the very next year was the year we went to the libero and rally scoring. So
It's you don't think it's a better game with rally scoring?
I think the rally scoring definitely changed the game into everything positive. There isn't anything negative I have to say about it. It just isn't real volleyball. I'm just mostly joking that, I played real volleyball. They're not playing real volleyball. It's just kind of one of those, dates myself. But it really changed the game into being a more family or a TV family friendly. They want to have games on TV, but they didn't want them to last 5 or 6 hours, because if you don't score a point, if you don't serve, there's no point. And so when we were in high school, there would be games. We were playing 3 out of 5 at Atlantic one year, and our game started at 7, and we didn't walk out of there till 11.
Yeah.
Just because of how hard the game was, and it's so hard to score a point that the games went forever. And TV's schedules don't like that. They like it, kind of nice and pretty.
Yeah, and it's been pretty for Nebraska volleyball as of late. Some of these matches are getting over in an hour and 15 minutes. Nebraska, no problem with Rutgers. I don't want to talk a lot about that, but Friday night in State College, they beat them. That is the Nittany Lions, who have moved up to 13 in the country in 4 sets. What have you seen from Nebraska that you didn't see early?
Right. I mean, we basically have the Lauren Stivrins factor happening. And then I think that at the same exact time that Lauren Stivrins is back, we also have Coach Cook sticking with a lineup. I think they've decided that Allie Batenhorst is his girl, and they're going to go with her for 2 or 3 sets. And if she can't get it done, then Stun has a chance to play. And I think that's just how they've decided to operate this year. I don't know all the, background stuff that has to do with that, but I think they've just decided that if we want to have a future and we want Allie to be our person, we can have her for 4 or 5 years here and make her be our put the ball down outside hitter.
You've got Batenhorst playing a lot. Lindsey Krause still playing a lot. Maddie Kubik still playing a lot. Kubik had 19 kills on Friday night. Batenhorst 15 kills, hit 375. These freshmen, it looks like they're starting to figure it out, right?
Right. I mean, I think they played with it a little bit at, with the lineups and who they wanted to have. But I think also just giving Maddie Kubik the leadership role on the team. She was not voted captain, but she's leading the team in like all areas besides setting and maybe digging. I'm not sure. But if you look at her stats, she's leading the team in a lot of areas. And I think they've put a lot of confidence in her and got what we want. And she's leading these freshmen to a great season in the Big Ten. To be undefeated in the Big Ten is not exactly how we kind of thought it was going to go after preseason, but to be sitting top with our record right now. I mean, we haven't had to play Minnesota or Wisconsin yet, but Penn State on the road is probably one of the hardest places to play. Just their crowd gets really into it. And then at home, they can also have like 20 some girls on the roster.
Yeah.
Away, you can only travel with so many girls. And if you look at Penn State's bench, it looks like 3 volleyball teams.
Yes.
They have the most girls. And Coach Cook talks about how Penn State has so many girls that if somebody's not digging balls, there's another girl to go in for you. They have like 12 DSs on that team.
Lawrence Stivrins didn't play that I noticed a lot on Friday night. You think they're load managing Lauren just because they know what they have and still being a little cautious with her?
You mean like she didn't get set, or because
Yeah.
I thought she was pretty much in the whole time?
Okay.
I kind of made the comment too that Lauren Stivrins isn't taking over this game like I kind of thought.
Um,
But I think when I say the Lauren Stivrins factor, it really doesn't have anything to do with how much she's producing. It's just the fact that she's out there and teams have to respect her, and so then that opens up our outside hitters way more.
Yeah.
It also, I mean, it's like giving Nicklin Haynes a Red Bull to have Lauren Stivrins out there. They're
Mhm.
best friends. They vibe off of each other. Like Nicklin's setting the best that she's setting everybody because Lauren's out there. It's just a different dynamic. Those two in the post game interview after she played her first time, I mean, it looked like they were at a slumber party and just giggly and having a great time because they were best friends and they get to be together.
Yeah, we'll find out more as this season goes along. Obviously, when you play the Minnesotas and the Wisconsins and the Ohio States and even Purdue, you'll find out more. Nebraska hasn't played the toughest teams in this league. What do you want to see from this team as they continue to grow?
I mean, I guess I would say a little bit of consistency. I mean, we didn't start off consistent, but now I feel like we're kind of settling into the consistency. But I mean, I definitely like that. I just feel like Krause's getting better all the time. So I think, just as a freshman, get confident. I don't know that Krause came out very confident because she didn't play all the time in preseason. So I think as her confidence grows, you're going to see a more powerful player out of her. And I think those kind of things, when you can set they call them the red zones, the right side, that just opens it up for the rest of the team also. So I think having those freshmen having more confidence is going to make a big difference.
Lexi Rodriguez is one of my favorite players to watch. She had another night yesterday with 17 digs. It feels like she could be Wong Arantes type good.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely has all the pieces, parts to be a Wong Arantes good. I mean, I think when you talk to her about, her journey, I think a lot of it's mental. But I would say physically, Rodriguez is, kind of lining up, kind of checking all the boxes that Justine had when she was a college player, and maybe even exceeding it a little bit.
Yeah.
She's kind of lived up to the hype. I didn't pay that close of attention with, who's all coming in with freshmen, because I think I was more like, oh, wow, Krause is coming in because she played, club, and I've watched her play a long time. So some of those big hitters are the ones that I was more interested in. And then Rodriguez was a surprise to me. But she lived up to the hype and then some.
Talking with Tanya Taki, former Husker volleyball star. What's going on these days with Nebraska 1?
So we have a big week coming up. October 20th is our team tryouts for all of next year. So if you have a daughter or know somebody that's looking to be on a team, we have pretty much all levels, from rec level to local level to regional level to national level. We start our travel teams at 5th grade. So if you know a 5th grader or 6th grader that wants to start being on a travel team, that's what Nebraska 1 has to offer. And that comes up here October 20th with tryouts.
Great. Thanks, Tanya. We'll talk to you again soon. Appreciate it. Tanya Taki, former Husker volleyball star. I love this team. I think this team has the chance. And Lauren Stivrins has said it as well. Like, these girls, I mean, they've got options. And it's nice to have options, but Maddie Kubek is finally playing well. I like Krause on one side. I think Batenhorst is playing well. They've got, and I think Lowenstein will play at a higher level once it all comes together for her. But adding Lauren Stivrins, man, that's the secret sauce right there.
I think it's just funny the emotions you go from as a Nebraska volleyball fan, or just the season. We kind of knew it was going to happen with the young group and those losses. Maybe once you got back to full strength, you'd be good again. But you kind of going, you're rebounding now. You're feeling confident after beating Penn State. But we talk about the football top 25 and having 5 Big Ten teams in the top 10, and how that's a record and that's new for Big Ten football. It's not new for Big Ten volleyball. volleyball. They have 5 teams in the top 10 once again, and Nebraska's sitting there at 10, but undefeated in Big Ten play. You wonder how long you can make it, and I'm really wondering just, how many losses is the top team of the regular season going to have? And then I get into my own thoughts about, what's more impressive, winning the Big Ten regular season, which is just ridiculous, or a tournament play where, one loss can just end your season right there. I'd say, if any team could go undefeated in the Big Ten tournament play, I'd just say, forget or not in the tournament, in the regular season, just move them into the Final Four. That's pretty impressive.
It's like, playing well in the SEC in football, or playing well in basketball in the Big Ten on the men's side. You're facing the rigors of a great team every single night. And I think Nebraska is going to benefit from that. I mean, I remember John Cook being asked about his first national title, and they honored him recently at the Devaney Center. I think it was for the Michigan game last Friday. And he said, well, that team was a great team, but they didn't have to go through the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And the Big 12 wasn't close to what the Big Ten is now in volleyball. And I think Nebraska was a little fortunate that they started off with teams like Northwestern and Iowa. And then they started to slowly gear up with Michigan and Michigan State, better teams. Then you go in State College and you beat Penn State. It's been a nice, give them a little
slowly
confidence.
Getting there.
Yeah, you didn't have to start with Minnesota or Wisconsin right away.
Yeah.
Or Ohio State. I mean, you were able to build a little momentum, give the girls some confidence, and win. And now maybe they're more ready for those better teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and if you're just looking down the schedule, it is coming around the corner. So, throughout the year, the Minnesotas, Ohio State, Purdue, Wisconsin, those are teams ranked above Nebraska right now. So those are the ones you got to look out for.
Yeah, fun to catch up with Tanya, talk a little Husker volleyball. They have Indiana this week. I believe that is Wednesday. They host Indiana.
Wednesday.
They host them at the Devaney Center. Let's see. Just going through some notes. You're excited because your Red Sox are up 2-1.
Yeah. I'll have to check on the MLB baseball. Of course, it's they play during the day right now. I think the Braves had an opportunity to score. This happened maybe half an hour ago.
Yeah.
They had an opportunity to score. They had a sac fly for the second out. The guy was going to score from third, but the guy from first ran, and he got thrown out at second, so they didn't get a run.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that.
You gotta be ready in playoff baseball. Don't take that risk.
Yeah, of course. It was weird what happened in the Tampa Bay game.
Yeah.
It doesn't go over the wall. It should have been a ground rule. I mean, it wasn't going to be a ground rule double because it didn't go over the fence, but then it hits a player at Renfro and it goes over the fence. I've never seen a ball stay in the ballpark, hit the wall, then hit the player, then go over the fence. But that really cost Tampa Bay and helped your Red Sox. I was trying to think of what team professionally would be the worst to be a fan of? And you can't get worse than being a Detroit Lions fan, right?
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
It's really rough. They have now lost, and this is so Detroit Lions. They've lost on a 66-yard field goal, which was an NFL record. And then yesterday they lost on a 54-yard field goal, both as time expired. Greg Joseph, who cost the Vikings a victory earlier this year against your Cardinals, made one from 54. But they are the first team in NFL history to lose on 50-plus yard field goals in the final play of regulation in one season.
And the season's early. They can add to that record.
Yeah, there's plenty of time. You can do much worse. Campbell, their head coach, who's kind of a weird dude. He was crying at the press conference yesterday. Like he thought they were really close to winning a game, and now they're, 0-4 or 0-5?
They're 0-5. They're the only
0-5.
winless team besides Urban Meyer.
But do you think it's okay? I mean, I understand it's an emotional sport, but this is pro football.
No.
There's no crying in pro football.
No, you shouldn't be crying.
There's no crying, especially if you're the Lions coach. You should expect to lose. Like you got to know going into the season. Yeah, we just traded Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff. I mean, come on, we're gonna lose at a really high level.
That's just like they just gave up. There's like, oh well.
Yeah, it's like, what do you want? You're trying to be bad, and then you're surprised when you're bad. How could you? I don't know. I
don't know. He's got a lot more wrapped up into it, I think, as far as his futures of his family and all that stuff. So maybe a tier or two is fine.
Other notes from the weekend. Obviously, the Chiefs lose. Which is a surprise that they're 2-3. That's probably the big story that Buffalo beat them Tom Brady might still be the best quarterback in football. He's 44. He threw for 411 yards and 5 touchdowns yesterday.
Yeah.
He's still at 44. You could still say he's the best quarter. That's crazy to say that, but it's not asinine to say it. I mean, it's probably just true.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's some weeks where they're able to did not necessarily ride on his shoulders, and that was kind of nice. They kind of put an all-star team together in Tampa for him, defensively and offensively. The defense isn't as good this year, but so he has to step up. And there's people prognosticating that he looked better than ever. So, it's crazy. That guy just doesn't age.
He really doesn't. He almost looks younger.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, he's probably using supermodel tactics to stay young.
Yeah,
I'm sure. His wife has told him. I still contend that his hair is fake. Go look at pictures of Brady early 2000s. Brady now. He's got way more thicker hair.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of money could probably do that.
Yeah, money will probably do that. But he's Tom Brady. I don't dislike him like a lot of people do. I just don't like him.
I like watching greatness in general. I can't think of too many greats that I dislike.
I don't dislike him. I just don't love him. I like him a lot more than I like Aaron Rodgers.
Do you like him more in Tampa than he was? You just got tired of the Patriots?
Yeah, I think I like him more in Tampa.
Yeah.
I mean, because of David and Sue, former Huskers, make me like him a little more. I was happy for those guys that they won a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And did the Davises get in on that as well? I mean,
one of the Davises.
Khalil
did.
Khalil,
yeah.
yeah.
Khalil, who is on the move now. I can't remember what team he signed with.
Yeah,
but he was let go by the Bucks, but now he's.
That's right. I just saw that. Was it the Jags? I can't remember where. That was Divine Zigbo that signed with the Jags, I believe. Anyway, you look that up and we'll get to it.
He's with the Colts now.
Okay, we got that solved. The pregame, we no longer eat the leftovers.
That's right.
We have a pregame ceremony, a ritual now that we'd like to do every single day with the guys. Nick Sainert, Rico Alvarez-Clary. They'll both be in here next to round out the show.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Building a house today is completely different than it was a year ago. It's great. It's a great time to build a house.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
Interest rates are fantastic. Our lot selection is fantastic. Being a large volume builder like we are, we tend to get very good discounts from our suppliers, which has been very helpful. So if you want to build right now, it's a great time to call, make an appointment, set a budget, sign a contract. You're locked in. I'm locked in. Let's figure out your location. Let's get that lot reserved. It allows you then to have some freedom and room to sell your home for a great profit. In the end, it's going to be a win-win for you.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SCC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high-quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good-proof, ready seal stain. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Partly cloudy skies this morning should give way to plenty of afternoon sunshine. We'll top out at around 74, north winds at around 10. Heading into tonight, mainly clear, a low dropping down to 46. We'll top out near 76 tomorrow, but southeast winds could gust over 35. That's a check of your forecast. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
Why pay for average lawn care when you can get better elsewhere? Blades Lawn Care is the place to go for excellent service for homeowners associations and commercial or residential lawn work. As we enter the fall with aerating and lawn care ahead of winter, also prepare for 2022 maintenance for your lawn. Call Rich today at 402-730-6320 to learn more or to schedule services for the fall or to look ahead to 2022. Blades Lawn Care, trusted service for over 10 years.
Nguyen Vape is celebrating their grand opening with 20% off products all month long. They have the largest disposable vape selection in town and also carry Delta 8 and Delta 10 and various other moon rocks. If you're looking for help to relax, sleep, or ease pain, they have a variety of gummies you can choose from and Kratom that could help with pain relief, anxiety, and stress. You can't miss them right on the southwest corner of 27th and O Street. Nguyen Vape, your headquarters in Lincoln for vapes and Delta 8 or 10.
At MD Pain, we know chronic pain is a problem. It can lead to isolation, depression, and the inability for you or a loved one to live the life you want. That doesn't need to happen. Chronic pain can be effectively managed. The doctors of MD Pain wrote the book on effective, ethical pain management. Get actual solutions with the most up-to-date, clinically proven treatment options available. No one has to suffer in silence. Get real treatment for chronic pain. Call MD Pain.
Welcome back, Husker fans. Eustace Body Shop is happy to welcome the best fans in college football back to Lincoln. With gold-class certified service, OEM parts, and free loaner cars, Eustace Body Shop can call the right plays to keep you in the game. Whether it's in Lincoln at 88th and Highway 2 or at any of our other 5 locations across Nebraska, Eustace Body Shop can help get you back on the road. Go Big Red.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Final segment of Tom and Bock. I'm Tom Stevens. He's Jake Bachhoven. As we welcome in the pregame crew, Nick Sainert and Rico Alvarez-Clary.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Not bad. Rico's not here. He's lagging behind.
Oh, he's always fashionably late.
Fashionably
late. Looking good.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you guys about this because Alabama, of course, the big upset of the weekend. They lost to Texas A&M 41-38. It's the end of a lot of streaks for Alabama. 19-game winning streak is over. Saban's streak against former assistants is over, 24 in a row. And Alabama's streak of 100 straight wins versus unranked opponents. And yet, they beat an unranked opponent, or lost to an unranked opponent this weekend at Texas A&M. They're still in the top 5. I mean,
Alabama.
That's a conspiracy,
Well,
right?
Texas A&M moved up to 17.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're one of the best 4-2 teams in the country, besides Florida, who almost beat Alabama.
But they when they played them, they were unranked.
That's true. They were being looked at as the most disappointing team in the NCAA so far, and you know they were supposed to be in talks for going to the college football playoff and how great they were supposed to be, but they were garbage and everybody's burying them. And then they beat Alabama, not by a lot. It's not like they smoked them, and they move up from unranked to 17.
They were definitely hanging on for dear life there when it was 31 to 28 or whatever. Did you see Texas A&M got fined $100,000 for storming?
Oh, the SEC keeps doing that. That's not going to stop them.
They got fined, I think, a similar amount in 2018 after they beat LSU.
That's lunch for A&M. I mean, it's like let's just order in today. That's $100,000.
That's lunch for just the defense.
Jimbo just paid that because it was his birthday. He probably just paid it off.
Yeah,
that's probably true.
I mean, he probably got that in one check.
Yeah,
birthday
he
check.
probably gets $100,000 for beating Alabama. He should.
Go ahead, find me. I just think that's Alabama favoritism. Who's the best team in the country?
Georgia.
Yeah, I think so too.
Georgia, not Iowa. Sorry, Bock.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think Georgia's as overpowering. Everybody was grouping them with Alabama, and these teams are so good.
How is Iowa better than Georgia?
I was probably their defensive backfield.
No.
Come on.
Have you seen their offense?
That defense has allowed 1 touchdown all year long.
Who has more interceptions?
Who has less points allowed?
All right.
I'm pretty sure Georgia's averaging like 2 points allowed a game.
Iowa's defense would kill Stetson Bennett.
No.
Yes.
And Georgia's defense
Guess
would
what?
murder
Georgia doesn't
no.
Georgia wouldn't have to pass
Petrus
it.
is great. Come on.
Well, we'll just see how it plays out.
Georgia would. Oh my goodness.
I just don't
Dear
like
God,
the unanimous.
I hope
vote.
Iowa makes the college
You're a
football
little.
playoff.
Iowa's a good team, but you're delusional.
I
if you
hope
think
Iowa makes the college football playoff and plays Georgia in the first game.
If they do, it'll be the most. I would love it.
It'll be a bloodbath.
Do you remember Michigan State versus number 1 Alabama? That's what on New Year's Eve 2015.
Any game that Notre Dame.
You guys
played
remember when Iowa destroyed Ohio State? Remember everybody was saying before that game, "Oh yeah, Iowa this, Iowa that." We'll see what happens.
Okay, but Ohio State's not Georgia, not this year.
Iowa's a good team.
Ohio State might beat Georgia this year. Ohio State's coming on.
I might.
I don't know. It's going to be.
Well, then Ohio State's going to beat Iowa. Then we won't have to worry about Iowa playing Georgia.
I'm just saying, you guys are proud of yourself going out on a limb, calling the unanimous number 1 team.
I don't have to go out on a limb to call anybody the number 1 team. I know for a fact it's Georgia right now.
Georgia might lose to Kentucky this week.
Georgia's not going to lose to Kentucky this week.
Kentucky looked good this weekend.
And if they do, then I will be number 1, and then I will be the best team in the land. There you go.
Kentucky, you'll admit it.
Kentucky,
then I'll say it.
Kentucky does have the leading wide receiver in the SEC.
That's right, they do.
But LSU, LSU looks bad. LSU
really bad,
is in disarray. That was a nice win.
They
for
lost their
Kentucky.
best receiver.
But Ed Orgeron
too.
is done, right? I mean, he's going to be
It
done
looks
at
like
the end of this year.
Bo Pelini wasn't the whole problem, I suppose.
Turns out it wasn't Bo Pelini's fault.
By the way, since LSU went 19-0, they're 8-8. They went 19-0 to win it all, and now they're 8-8.
The curse of Bo Pelini strikes
That's
again.
right. Bo Pelini's the curse. And the cat.
If you fire Bo Pelini, you will suck. Sorry.
Is it more Bo or the cat that goes with him?
I don't know.
It's the Twitter account.
By the way, Nebraska is a 2.5-point favorite this week going to Minnesota. You think that sounds right? You guys?
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not bigger, actually. Minnesota just lost their starting running back.
Yeah,
today.
they did announce Trayson Potts out for the year.
Minnesota was also down 25 people when they came to Nebraska.
So you guys feel very comfortable that Nebraska will win?
I don't.
Okay. I don't either.
I think Nebraska will win, and I think they'll win by a pretty big number, but I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, I don't know how you could. I just don't feel comfortable going against a team that has bullied you the last 2 years. And, of course, last year, 30 guys with COVID? You were way down, and they still were able to run the ball at a really high level. And Nebraska did okay against the run last year. So I'm not ultra confident that Nebraska will go to Minnesota and win that game handily.
I don't know. I think that if Nebraska's in a spot where we all kind of believe they are, this is one of those games that you're supposed to win. And it's not supposed to be necessarily extremely close.
So was the first game.
You're absolutely right. But Nebraska's in a different spot. I think we all can agree than
That is
against
true.
Illinois.
They are better.
Are you guys feeling better or worse, or are you still mad? How are you feeling?
I have a lot of feelings, and I will get them all out next.
I like that.
He's
nothing more.
I am on a path. I don't really know what path.
Should we do that intro?
I think we might. I don't know what path, but I'm on a path. I'm happy. I'm upset.
Dr. Fauci.
I'm angry. I'm sad.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
I'm mostly still angry.
I think I need the joint possession.
Yeah, that'll cool you
Joint
down.
possession. There's always that available. Good. I'll be listening on the drive home.
Appreciate it,
We'll
Tom.
be drifting. We always listen on the
Please
drive
do.
home. It's what we do.
Shout you out.
Happy hour. That's pregame. Happy hour is next with Nick and Rico. It's time for us to leave.
Yeah.
By the way, 5 teams from the Big Ten in the top 10.
That's right.
That's not bad.
Who's number
Best
one?
conference.
Who's the best one?
It's the best
Is it Iowa?
conference in the
Is it
entire
Iowa?
world.
Georgia.
No.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years.